And a very good morning to you. Welcome to the Kyalami 9-hour day 2 here at the iconic Kyalami race circuit. And cars already on the track. We're in for a bumper day of action, including the Intercontinental GT Challenge Round 2. I'm Gareth Burley, and alongside me, my colleague Ricky Brest, who's going to be down in the pits throughout the day, and of course at the Motorsport Fest as well, keeping us updated with all that's happening. So, Ricky, what's your day looking like?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Gareth, I'm going to be in the pits, in the support race pits, chatting to drivers, meeting them, hopefully some race winners as well, and hearing their stories. I'm going to take you through to the Motor Fest and show you what's happening over there. It's a very exciting day, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we might even see Ricky in one of those hot lap cars a little bit later on as well. All right, so we've already got action onto the track. It's the F1600s that are coming around and getting ready to go. Let's just remind you of what's coming up today at day 2 of the Kyalami Motorsport Festival. So InvestChem F1600s up first, and the FF Kent. We've got then the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Yesterday, 51 cars lined up, and fans were out in their numbers to get a shot of them rolling down the main straight. The Mobil V8 Series, Mobil 1 of course coming on board for a 5th year. Great to have them as we go to Rolling Thunder. Mobil V8s on the track a little bit later on at 9 o'clock. Then it's the CompCare Polo Cup coming your way at 9:35. We've got the VIP hot laps then. We've got some stunning Ferraris, Mercedes. They're all on display right here in the fest, and Ricky will be down there a bit later on. And then GTC, second race of the weekend. They come up for you at 22:11. We've got historic cars as well. There's some iconic cars that you're going to want to keep an eye out for. So if you're in the vicinity, make sure you get yourself a ticket and come and join us here at the Kyalami 9-hour. Then our build-up. Build-up, of course, comes up for your way at 12 o'clock today, and all set to go then for the round 2 of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. So F1600s onto the track. Yesterday we saw the opening round take place. It's the most lucrative race in South African motorsport, 200,000 Rand up for grabs, and the drivers remind you of that every time that they are there. Nicholas Van Wheelie joining us yesterday in studio along with his dad. There's such history in this race. His dad has been doing it for 40 years, single-seat racing in South African motorsport. We see the cars coming around now. Ricky will be down there in a short while, keeping us updated with all that's happening in the pit lanes. Let's run through the grid then for you in a moment as to how they will be lining up for today's race. So we've got on pole position, it's the number 17, Troy Dolenchek. Now, he didn't have the best of races yesterday. Unfortunately, his engine cover blew off and really hampered him. Eventually, he had to retire from the race, but he is on pole position. Alongside him, the number 19, which is Gerard Geldenhuys. The runner-up from last season had a fantastic day yesterday. And he certainly looks like the man to beat as we go into the first race of day 2. Exciting stuff, eh? All ready to go. So, right, Ricky, all the best. I know you're off down to the pits, and we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you shortly.
Thank you. We'll see you then.
Thank you, guys. All right, so action now turns onto the track. You'll see the drivers heading down, coming through the famous crocodiles and cheetah, and around the final corner and lining up to go. All set to go then for round 2, of the Kyalami 9-hour for our F1600s. Let's just remind you then of the race results for tomorrow, or from yesterday rather, in the F1600s. As mentioned, despite starting on pole, things didn't quite go his way for Troy Dolenchek. Unfortunately, that engine cover coming off quite early. I actually thought it was perhaps an incident, but it turned out that actually just a loose bolt, unfortunately, bringing his race to a premature end. So cars lining up now. The number 17 on pole position alongside him, the 19, Gerard Geldenhuys. Gerard Geldenhuys in the Abacus Divisions vehicle was our race winner yesterday. Nicholas Van Wheelie, he has had a fantastic weekend. Started out quite poorly, but he's bounced back, qualified 5th on the grid yesterday, and managing to finish in 2nd place. Look out for the number 87. He's been in the series for a long time. Had a disappointing year last year. He's starting a bit further back in the grid. Of course, the same qualifying time, so we're just waiting for the lineup, last few riders to get set. Continue to look then at your race results from yesterday. We had an incredible dice between Sia Mokogwana in the number 74, the InvestChem sponsored 74. He came in 3rd, holding off the young rookie Jason Kutsia, a former karting champion, making his way into the F1600s, and Sia was able to hold him off in those dying moments. Alex Force then coming into 6th ahead of The second Geldernace in the Abacus divisions in the number 7. And then down in the FF Kent, you can see the cars a bit further back. Looks like we've got racing action about to get underway. It's the opening race for the second day here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. All right, all eyes onto the lights. We're all set to go. 5-second board, he's out. Fans pouring in, looking across the track. Barbecue starting to fill up, and there we go. It's much better start from Troy Dolenchek. Looks like a bit of a slow start then from the man in second as we head down into the kink and the famous Crowthorne corner. Oh, and it's yesterday we saw quite respectful racing between the drivers, and it looks like they're going to get through comfortably all, yeah, indeed, in the opening lap. So as mentioned, Dolenchek starting on pole position, then Geldernace, your race winner from day 1 up to second. It's a quick dive on the inside. It's going to be a favorite viewing spot there out at Barbecue. You can see the fans starting to gather, setting themselves up for a fantastic day of racing. Flat out now as we head into the sweep. It was fantastic to have Nicholas Van Wheelie joining us live in studio last night, giving us a little insight into the F1600s. I also had the privilege of having Andrew Rackstraw, who's come. Oh, and we've got already a casualty. He's actually avoided the sand. Can he get things going again? The 37 he can. He's going to have to take a long way around the sand there. That is Karabo Malamela in the James Malamela vehicle. As they head through the S's, there comes the FF Kents now. The FF Kent's got no rear wing. These are some of the legends of the sport, likes of Ian Schofield from InvestChem, Duncan Foss, the former Dakar star. He's in that category as well. And Graham Hepburn in the Quali Pack, Johannesburg, Van Diemen. Ronald Van Wheelie speaking to us yesterday as we see early action. Oh, he actually touched the grass and that spun him out. Difficult to recovery from there. That was going into Clubhouse. Popular viewing spot here at Kyalami Raceway. So coming through now, Crocodiles into Cheetah. Don't want to hit that sausage curve on the inside for these single-seaters. And a final turn now back onto the main straight. We'll see how the lap times are in the opening lap here. And our first race of day 2 at the Kyalami 9 Hour. They're streaming down the main straight. Dolenchek in a 2:01.087, of course, opening lap there. Geldernace 0.5 behind. These cars maxing out at about 206 kilometers per hour down the main straight. Much closer than in the FF Kents as they head on through. Right into the kink and for Barbecue for the first time and first full lap. And it's Troy Dolenchek then, the number 17. He was third last season, rookie of the year in the Sugen InvestChem vehicle. And without that difficulties of yesterday, he's looking very confident and strong. Mokongwana was the man to look out for yesterday. He was full of action. But this time, the young Kutsia has got ahead of him. Jason Kutsia, the former karting champion, stuck behind Mokongwana yesterday. We saw an exciting race. Of course, you can go check out all the highlights on our YouTube channels and Kyalami 9 Hour on social media as well. That's the point where the old track would have turned right as the cars now make their way up at Leeuwkop. You can hear the tires screeching as they head down now. The mine shaft, thrilling going down here in these cars. It's flat taps for them as they make their turn here on the mine shaft and down towards the Crocodiles. Nicholas Van Wheelie, who was second yesterday, not quite having it his way today, down in 5th place at the moment. A little bit off the pace. Here comes the FF Kents. We'll have a look at their leaderboard in a moment as the leaders now make their way end of lap number 2. So it's Ian Schofield who's leading the FF Kents. We'll recognize those vehicles a little bit further back without the rear wings. Forced into second and Hepburn into third. It's been pretty much the story all weekend long. The three of them trading front 3 positions in free practice and qualifying. Right, very close now, up in second, playing second and third. Dolenchek looked like they might have gone a bit wider into the corner, but Kutsia certainly looks like the man with a bit of pace. Dolenchek coming through in a 153.8 there now, right up to race speed. Certainly the fastest man on the track. No one else in the 153s. It's a 154 for Geldernace, Kutsia and Mokongwana. Rest of the field running down in the 155s, 156s. Force going through then in a 202, leading the way now. So he's taken the lead in the FF Kent. Schofield obviously making a mistake. He's dropped down into third place. But this is where their action is at now as they come through club. Coetzee looking very racy as he was yesterday. Found it difficult though to find an overtaking spot. It was great to get the insights of Andrew Rackstraw, who's of course raced in this series. He gave us a little insight into saying how difficult it is for these cars to overtake. Seems like the track is wide enough, but a lot of the drivers choosing different racing lines through some of these wider corners, like Leeuwkop, like the Crocodiles, and of course the first corner, the Crowthorne as well. It's opening race of the day here at the Kyalami 9 hour, and cars are piling in. Looking back at the entrance, we've got a long queue of vehicles making their way into the track, and a feast of motorsport on the way, local and international. And we are underway with the F1600s and the FF Kent race. Coetzee there looking for a little bit of a gap. Doesn't want to compromise his racing line as Geldenhuys goes a little wide there, but could this be a Coetzee's chance? He's in the slipstream. Dolenchik comfortable out in the lead. Didn't have the drama of yesterday. Oh, and playing nicely. We saw very respectful racing from Coetzee and Mokokwana yesterday, and once again two different racing lines, and Coetzee has to back out of that one. Geldenhuys, yesterday's race winner, then maintaining his second place, and it looks like Mokokwana and Van Wheelie looking quite racy there for fourth place overall. Yeah, you can see the fans on the right starting to gather as we look forward to a fantastic day racing. That's the beautiful stretch between Barbecue and of course Sunset. Van Wheelie into fifth place at the moment, ahead of him Mokokwana, who finished on the podium yesterday, did an outstanding job defending, and he's doing it again today. And Wheelie compromised a little bit, taking a different racing line through that corner as the battle for the podiums continue. Here is Geldenhuys, yesterday's race winner, and the young Jason Coetzee, former karting champion, looking very racy here in the second race of the InvestChem 1600s, and the FF Kent, of course, a little bit further back. Still Duncan Force leading in the FF Kents, 202 last time out. Leaders now down into the 153s as they make their way down Mineshaft. It's lap 3 here of the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent. Big lineup of racing, of course, coming up next. We've got the star-studded field of local BMW riders. The BMW M Performance Part Race Series up next. We had 51 cars on the starting lineup yesterday. Unfortunately, our race leader had a crash on the opening corner, so we're not sure if he's going to be out there. So they start to get racy now next to each other here. It's the number 77 coming through there. Coetzee and Geldenhuys. Has he got it? No, it's once again fantastic defending from Geldenhuys. In fact, Coetzee was just ahead on the timing at the start line, but as you can see, Geldenhuys has taken their place back as Coetzee takes a dive down the inside, and it's going to stick this time. It'll be a little bit compromised going through there, but Sunset's not a corner they want to overtake, so he will now settle. The young karting champion looking very racy. Now we can see his true pace. He's been stuck behind drivers yesterday, stuck behind drivers so far this morning. Can he close the gap now? 3.4 seconds to Dolenchik, who's currently leading the way. Troy Dolenchik, third last season, the rookie of the year. Yesterday having a disaster in the race. Unfortunately, engine cover coming off. He tried to race, but the aerodynamics just bent. He was dropping like a stone through the field, eventually deciding to retire the car. And now we can see Coetzee's pace. He's already opening up a gap. We'll keep an eye on that gap there for you. 3.4 seconds to Dolenchik as they go through Leeuwkop, up at the top of the track. One of the most stunning views of this Kyalami race circuit. A little update then down the field for your FF Kents. It's still Duncan Foss, the former Dakar star, leading the way. Just behind him is the number 26 of Graham Hepburn. See there, just Geldenhuys having to defend now, going into the Crocodiles, and looks like the bottle cork has been released. Coetzee is through, and the rest now starting to pile up behind there. Just going back to the FF Kents, Hepburn in second, Morris in third. So it looks like Ian Schofield, unfortunately, is withdrawing. He's now 3 laps down, so he's not in the race. Right, up in the front, going through. It's lap number 5, a 1:53.1. Could see not quite having an opportunity yet for a full lap pace, but he certainly was quicker that time. And here comes an inside dive now. Is it going to stick? Mokoana was looking very racy. Oh, and just amazing respect between these drivers as they head through these very wide corners. And Geldenhuys, after yesterday's race victory, would be feeling confident going into today's race, but he's dropping back down into third at the moment and looking vulnerable against Sia Mokoana, who finished on the podium yesterday, tasting the podium. He wants to be back there. So just confirmation then, Ian Schofield, unfortunately, is out of the race. The InvestChem man in the FF Kents is unfortunately withdrawn from the race. So it's still Force ahead of now Morris and Hepburn in the FF Kents. So a bit of a change there in second and third. Jason Kutsia now opening a nice little gap there as he got Dolinchek in sights. Well, the gap's opened up to 4.4 seconds, so not close, but he did have to get through on Geldenhuys earlier. So we'll see now first full lap without any traffic in front of him. We'll see what kind of lap times he can pull out. He's almost at the 1:53s rather, but the last lap a second off the pace of your race leader, number 17, and that is Troy Dolinchek. Sweeping right through Cheetah. You can see that big yellow sausage curb there. The drivers want to stay far away from that as Troy Dolinchek now heads across the line, and a 1:53.2 that time. Let's see what Kutsia does. And he's into the 53s, and wow, it's a 53.3. Not as quick as Dolinchek, but fantastic time. Right, it looks like Geldenhuys has now opened up a bit of a gap, and it's Mokoana who's looking vulnerable now as Van Wheelie takes a dive. And we saw the two of them racing this kind of wheel-to-wheel action, very respectful, but now Van Wheelie's compromised, and he could miss out to Force now going into barbecue. Oh, it's tied through there. Oh, boys! Onto the gravel, but it does look like Van Wheelie will then miss out there. And yeah, he's gone into the slipstream. You don't want to be taking any chances into sunset. You can see the skid marks there of those who tried and unfortunately ended up in the barrier. So fantastic racing there. The number 5 Force now ahead of Van Wheelie. Unfortunately, we don't have the timing on the screen for you. We'll see if we can get that sorted out. But it's hot action here at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. It's InvestChem 1600s and the FF Kents just behind, the vehicles without the wings. So you can recognize the 1600s with their wings, and of course the Kents without their wings further back. Just in that race at the moment, the Kent race, we've got still Duncan Force leading the way. He's just 0.5 seconds ahead of Morris, the number 24, Rick Morris, InvestChem vehicle. So it looks like very close racing between the two of them. But out in the front, it's looking like a comfortable victory for Dolinchek as we head into the start of lap number 7. He's around the final corner and already onto the main straight. Oh, he's locked up the brakes. Is that going to compromise him now into Ingwe? Oh, and he looks like he's broken a drive shaft there or suspension of some sort. He pulls out the way. Oh, it's disappointing there after such close racing. So it's unfortunately going to be a DNF there. As we can see now, does he break something? Is there a touch there? Oh, it looks like he actually went off the corner at the Cheetah, which might have created maybe a little stress fracture or a little bit of fatigue on that suspension, and that seems like under then the braking. Yeah, it then just snapped there. Doing the right thing, just moving off the track there. So, yeah, big disappointment there as he starts to drop down the field there, unfortunately. All right, Dolinchek then still in the lead, ahead of the young Jason Kutsia, the young karting champion, in second. Keeping an eye on that gap, it's still 4.5 seconds. Dolinchek, the quickest lap of the race, still a 1:53.1 last time out. He's backed off a little bit at a 1:53.5. So it was the Force who was the man who unfortunately missed out there as he dropped down. Suspension failure, or looks like under the braking, the number 5. Unfortunately, he had to pull out just on the main straight, the international pit straight, just after the corner, and yeah, unfortunately not able to continue. Right, lap number 7 here at the F1600s in FF Kent, and yeah, it's been exciting racing once again, and it never disappoints. Of course, 200,000 Rand up for grabs for these drivers, the winner at the end of the season, and an opportunity to be in GTC. And we saw that with the likes of Andrew Rackstraw. We spoke to him yesterday. We've seen the jump that it takes from going from single-seaters up to GTC, how challenging it can be. As we go through the finish line, and there we go, it's a final result then, as Dolenchek comes to the finish line to complete a victory here. Redemption after a disappointing opening race. It's the young Jason Kutsia then, who's in 2nd place. He will be delighted to be on the podium after just missing out yesterday. And yesterday's race winner, it was the young Geldenace, the number 19 car, who's now bounced back. The runner-up from last season, the Abacus Division's driver, who finishes onto the podium. Looking back down then at the FF Kents, it was Duncan Foss, the number 23, who picks up the victory. Then we've got Rick Morris, 2nd place in the InvestChem vehicle, and in 3rd in the FF Kent, it's Mr. Graham Hepburn. Of course, the FF Kents then still, a couple of them still coming through the finish line, a little bit behind on the pace. You see the vehicles now coming in. Yeah, this is the 24 and vehicle number 24 there coming in. It's Morris then. He's a bit under, looking still for that race victory, but it doesn't look like that's an opportunity to overtake. So there we go, confirmation then of Force winning it ahead of Morris, and Hepburn will come in through. So nice race. We didn't get much of that action because there was so much happening in the front. So yeah. So it's the first race of the F1600s and FF Kent. And there we go, vehicles into the support race pits now. Just to remind you, coming up next, we've got a star-studded field of BMW M Performance Parts Race Series drivers, and looking forward to seeing them in action soon. Just to remind you then, coming up, Mobil V8 Series on the way, and CompCare Polo Cup at 9:35. We'll have a look at the highlights in a short while, as well as we get ready for more action here. Race number 2 coming up in a while. Right, highlights then of the first race of the day. Unlike yesterday, we saw Troy Dolenchek, who had an engine cover go off this time. He was comfortable out in front. All the action was happening behind, and there we saw the first vehicle going off, but these guys are wise. He stayed off the gravel, he managed to be on the grass and recover. Close battle then, of course, between 2nd and 3rd, but in the end, it was the young Jason Kutsia who was holding on. And there we saw the broken suspension. Unfortunately for Force, he had made his way up into the top 5, and in the end, a comfortable victory for the man to look out for, of course, Troy Dolenchek. Right, wonderful to have with me now a very special guest joining me here in studio as we continue with the race day action. And of course, he's got a big day ahead of him. It's Kwanda Mokoena, youngest driver in the Kyalami 9-hour. Kwanda.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, man. Wow, you got earlier to the track this morning, eh?
Yeah, I wanted to miss out on all of the traffic and all of that. So I already knew it was going to be a bit hectic, but happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. We can see the fans starting to pour in. Bras are getting ready. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing.
100%.
Talk to us about your testing yesterday. It's been a up and down sort of start for you throughout the week, but how are you feeling going into a big day?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster of a week. With the whole fire that happened on Thursday, kind of cut our testing in half. So we only really got to go out Saturday night practice, but kind of had to make the most of what we had. So kind of had to just maximize everything going into qualifying. Not 100% sure on the setup, just new set of tires, put everything. So I was quite happy with the results, considering we missed out on quite a lot of testing. But I think our pace for the race should be a little bit better. Just managed to fine-tune a little of the just managed to fine tune some of the
Yes.
small things. So hopefully in the race we can keep up with the top guys there.
What's it like being amongst some of these? I mean, these are like heroes to you, these stars.
100%. Like it was a bit overwhelming on the first day. I was like,
Yes.
damn, like these are the guys I watch on TV.
Well, how old are you now?
18 now.
18 years old.
Yes.
Incredible.
So it was a bit crazy getting to be on track with some of the guys who I actually look up to and watch and learn from. So I just took this weekend as a learning weekend, just trying to learn as much as I can from the international guys and just take as much as I can.
And have you spoken to some of them? I mean, Sheldon
100%.
van der Lindes, yeah.
100%. I'm just trying to like learn as much knowledge and gain as much knowledge as possible. Obviously, you won't learn all of the tips and tricks, but as much as you can pick up on track. So just hopefully I can learn enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a challenging weekend for you, but you're here.
100%.
I mean, you are here and taking part. You must be so excited. I mean, there's lots of your fans here come out to watch, eh?
100%. So, like I said, this race is basically in my backyard. I live in Kyalami, so it is quite nice to be racing so close to home. And I can already see like the fans starting to come in and the people starting to pour it in. So it's gonna be an awesome day of racing.
So obviously we're not going to be challenging at the front. So what's the goal for the 9 hour today?
I'd say more, since we are competing in the Pro-Am class, I'd say a podium in Pro-Am is possible. So we haven't ruled that out of the books yet, but obviously we have to finish first. So that'll be the main thing. Obviously finishing in a podium in Pro-Am would obviously just top it off.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been talking a lot to some of the drivers in the other series about the perfect race line, because we've noticed amongst the drivers in all the series, different lines around the likes of Crowthorne and Leeuwkop. Have you settled? I mean, is there a different race line?
Well, I'm still like learning the track as we speak. I only drove the track for the first time on Thursday.
What?
So it was a learning curve. At the same time, learning the car and the track at the same time. I'd only prior driven the track on the simulator, so it is a bit different. But like I said, every session we managed to improve a little bit. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And at least going into the race, we have a good balance to start with. So just keep the car on the track and finish.
Yeah, tell us about the beast that you're racing, that Audi. Man, that noise is amazing. Down the straight, I mean, we get the best view of it because you can hear the engine noise coming past as it flies. It must be an incredible car to drive.
It's a beast. But unfortunately, I don't hear it as much as you guys do because I've got the ear plugs in. But it is a sound that will put a smile onto your face.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the longest sort of drive stint that you will do today?
So I know I'll be starting.
Okay.
So it'll probably be...
that must be exciting.
It will be.
It will be amazing.
Probably do a double stint to start with. So 2 hours to start with, and then hand the car over to Marius and then Mo. And then we'll see what happens there. You know, it's Kyalami, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, eh?
So...
No. You didn't say rain now, did you?
No, no.
No, don't.
But yeah,
just amazing. All right. I mean, driving that car around this track, I mean, you could have started with something smaller. I mean, really.
100%.
But what an experience, eh? You've had a chance to have a look at some of the support races. It feels like this is exciting times for motorsport in South Africa.
100%. It's been just even watching the GTC races yesterday and the Polo Cup race. Like it's so good to have racing back at Kyalami, first of all, and just seeing the numbers also. Like it's not it wasn't a shabby amount of people who pulled up, and it was quite impressive.
Yeah. So what does your morning look like now? I mean, it's a bit of a nervous wait now. It's still a while to go before you start getting yourself ready, a bit of a briefing. So what do you do now? Go meet the fans? Or
go walk around.
Go
see how everybody is. Go talk to the team and everything. And
yes. Well, we're in for some exciting racing. Yeah, I mean, 50 cars on the grid up next for BMWs.
100%.
It's incredible to see, and we're in for a very exciting day. So give us a little idea about your season, what's coming up for you next. I mean, I know you've got more endurance racing coming up as well. I think next weekend already, no break for you. Eh?
So,
and just quickly, I'm hearing in the background some overseas things as well. So give us a rundown.
So next week is actually the first round of the South African Endurance Championship. So I'll be competing in that, in the Audi GT4. And then we also will be competing in the ADAC GT Masters Championship in Germany.
Wow.
this year. So
What are you driving?
the R8 GT3. So it'll be
Beautiful.
a learning curve for us. Just want to take back as much as we can, and also for the actual team, and just bring back as much as we can. So it's gonna be a very hectic year. Trying to squeeze that in, also with the GNH and the GNH Extreme class. So we'll be competing in 3 different championships, I think. But it's gonna be a hectic year.
So how old are you again?
18.
Are you studying, or you got schoolwork, or what's happening?
I'm still juggling with my matric now, so I'm almost done there.
No,
Promise you.
you're in matric.
Yeah.
All right, for everyone listening, all right, we don't want to hear any excuses about how much you've got on your plate, all right? Try 3 international and local series and matric as well. Wow, so you've got a full schedule this year coming
Yeah, it's
up.
gonna be a very hectic year.
And jumping from car to car, I mean, you've been doing it for a while now already, so you're comfortable with that?
100%. I think it almost kind of helps find that balance just between being comfortable in any car. I think just driving one car for too long will get you a little bit too comfortable in that car. Then when you hop into another one, it's like something completely different. So I think that also just keeps me on my tiptoes and just keeps me a bit more active.
Absolutely. In fact, a question coming in from one of our viewers asking about, do you have comms to the radio? How do you know when to pit? And is there a pit board? Or what's the comms like between you and your team?
Every driver on the grid actually has a mounted radio in their helmets. Actually, I have my helmet there, but it's a bit
That's
far
your
away.
race helmet,
Yes,
is it? Okay,
yes.
lovely.
So we all have mounted radio comms into our helmets, and then just by the press of a button on the steering wheel, we can talk to the guys in the pit lane and just be able to communicate with everyone in the pits.
Okay. And you're drinking a lot of fluid?
Yeah, like we also have a water bottle in the car, and then with a tube running through our helmets, just in case it does get quite hot in that car, and there's no aircon or anything. So it's water is the thing that really
Keeps you cool.
keeps us going. Yeah,
And how much water have you got in there?
it's not a really big bottle. It's like a 800 ml bottle. It's quite a small bottle. So it's a bit of spray and just go, spray and go.
Spray and go, because we can see often in the pits the guys are then changing bottles then as well. Yeah? And just quickly, the race seats, we see often the drivers, you get out and then you've got like a molded extra seat or whatever. What have you got? I mean, you're 18.
Funny enough, I actually have a booster chair. I'm not even joking. It's literally, there is a baby booster seats that I put in.
The ones that you have at the movie houses.
I promise you.
Right, so you've got your booster seat ready.
Yes.
For the 18-year-old. Huh?
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible. Right, so here we go. We're going to ask you just to stay with us for a little bit longer as we welcome the BMWs. I mean, this is really fun racing. We've got the
100%.
families out here. These are fun cars to race around this track, eh?
Especially with the amount of cars on the track. There's how many?
Well, we had 59 starting the weekend. As we see, is it Robert Volk going
I think
past,
so.
eh? Robert Volk in the GTC, obviously just having a
Little shakedown.
little shakedown there. He's not in this race, I can guarantee you that. Yeah, so we got 59 cars. In fact, we were speaking to the chairman of the racing series, and he was hoping for 60, but 59 rocked up. Unfortunately, some were out, so we had 51 on the grid yesterday.
Even that is still
and
phenomenal.
what a sight. In fact, by the time the leaders got down to the first corner at Growthorne,
The guys won't even finish coming across
they
the
weren't
last
even
corner.
they weren't even across the start line. So we will keep an eye out on this. It is the second round for the BMW M Sport Performance Series, so it's not their opening round. So they've already had one race, and we got a little insight yesterday into the series as well. But yeah, certainly looking forward to it, and lovely to have a family kind of series here at the 9 hour. So, must ask you, what was your first car? Or is that a bit too
Actually,
late?
I haven't even got my
haven't
first
got
car
your
yet. I only
first
got
car.
my license a few months ago, so I've been just borrowing one of my dad's cars or my mom's car. But that'll come sooner or later.
So, how many cars have you driven in your life? Far more than you've done on the legal roads. Then,
Yeah,
eh?
more race cars than normal cars.
Well, I suppose the big question we all want to know is, did you pass your driver's test the first
Yes,
time?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
all right,
fortunately.
yeah. We would have been disappointed that you have to learn K53 books.
I actually have a little secret. I failed my learner's test once, but my driver's test once. But yeah, the K53 you have to know it.
So, at what age did you do your first drive in a car?
I think 12.
12 years old,
I think
eh?
so.
Dad. Dad. We'll talk to Dad a bit later. Right, so here we go. lining up now. And where is the Ribeiro brothers? Unfortunately, yesterday, Rick Ribeiro went straight on the first corner. He's fine now, Rick Ribeiro, but it was his brother Paulo then that took the race. Unfortunately, we ended under a red flag, but I don't see him on the front of the grid. We'll get confirmation of that in a moment. But quite a sight then. It's going to take a while to get these cars all lined up. We're expecting 50 on the grid for this morning's race. And I think this is the thing about racing, being so close to other cars. I mean, most of your time has been this weekend, or this 100%. Week so far, on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, your car comes past, you've been close to some, but nothing quite like this. I mean, starting today on the grid, you don't want to call. I mean, it's a long race, so you want to just stay out of trouble.
100%.
So there we go. See the BMW M Performance Part Series cars coming through and lining up here. Oh, it's a full field, as you can see, all the way to the back. I'll give you a quick rundown there. It's 5 classes. We start with the A class. These are the cars that are doing sub 1 minute 56s around this track. And if you're in the B class, there he comes.
There he is.
There he comes, the number 11. Right, that was the race winner from yesterday. So great to see one of the Ribeiro brothers here. The 126 is the one that unfortunately went off yesterday. So just quickly reminding you then, the A class, sub 156. If you do a 156 to a 202 around this track, you're in the B class.
Yeah.
If you're in the B class and you just go under 156, they take off your B sticker,
A sticker.
They put an A sticker on. So they make it really fair. C is 202 to a 208, and then so 6-second window there, 208 to a 212 for D and E class, everything back basically.
Yeah.
We had guys starting on Thursday in the E. They're now in B.
I think they found a bit of confidence in the car and the track.
Absolutely, and why not? So it's going to be quite a scene. And this is, as you can see around the track, race fans are lining up, got the cameras out.
Already, so not even 10 o'clock, not even 10 a.m.
Yeah, and they're lined up because this is quite a sight. But we've got the pace car out in front. So, of course, they'll be leading them around the track. And there's some... So there we go, all lined up. It seems like a bit of confusion at the back of the field because, as you can imagine, 50 cars lining up. So in fact, it looks like we're going to go straight to racing in a moment. There we go. So we've got the 1 minute board. Back of the field, still trying to find their positions, but we've got a tight schedule here today, so we don't have too much time. I'm not sure I've seen too many races start like that.
Yeah.
And are we underway? No, we are not. So we're not racing, so it's going to be a formation lap. Cars just coming through, finding their positions. So your first experience of Kyalami, must ask. I mean, it must feel really special.
100%. It's not as I don't think the simulator does the track justice. It's a epic track, world class track. Even just by the facilities and just driving on track, you can really just see by the runoff and everything. This is a very special track.
Do your friends know that you're here?
Most of them, I think so.
And what do they think about you racing a GT3 Audi, top speeds around this track? What do they think about it?
It's a bit like difficult to explain how the car works and what it does, but I think the few that do understand are a bit blown away at times. But it's nice to have some friends come out and always just come show love and all that.
I mean, you must see this as really a great growth season, traveling overseas, getting all these opportunities. Can you look ahead a few years and have some dreams and aspirations, or what's your goals? Have you got any?
I'd say in the near future, obviously now that we've been working with Audi for going on to our second year now, so hopefully just try and strengthen that relationship with Audi, and in the near future, fingers crossed, hopefully become a factory driver. That's always been the biggest target. So right now, I'd say we're closer than ever. So hopefully that is what's to come in the near future.
Yeah. So Kwanda Mokwena, do you have a bit of a nickname? What do your friends call you, huh?
Kwanda, Quants. Quants. I can't really think of much.
Okay.
K.
Just K. All right. We can see the cars coming through now, the back of the field here, going through the clubhouse corner there, sunset in the background, into the S's. I mean, this is a difficult corner. We've seen quite a far. You can see the tire marks in the sand. You miss your braking point there, you're through, and then you're a passenger, And you're coming across this part of the track. I mean, it's a dangerous little section.
It's not a slow corner. It's not
a slow corner, yeah.
I don't think the camera actually does it justice of the actual elevation change of that corner. When
That's
I say
right.
it goes down, it goes down.
And of course, this corner is absolutely stunning. You're so high up. Again, I think you don't really get to see the full picture here
100%.
of coming up to Leeuwkop, the old West Bank, and then down the mine shaft. Look at that. It's stunning to see 50 BMWs on the line. It was wonderful to have the chairman yesterday, Mr. Bernard de Gouveia. He joined us in studio. He's just having an absolute ball, being on TV, being out here, welcoming all these drivers. There's a lot of families here. Just a fantastic experience here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. We'll get to that grid in a moment. Kwanda Mokoena joining me here ahead of the Kyalami 9 Hour coming up in a short while. There we go, the lead car peels off. We'll see the cars coming around Ingwe in a moment. There they go past Cheetah. Right, so this is the exciting part, eh?
How was the starts?
The rolling start, of course, we're looking back at still red lights, waiting for it to turn green. It's an exciting moment. Now, don't go too early, and there we go. Red lights are out.
There we go.
And I'm expecting, there he is, he's not going to waste too long to get to the front. It's Paulo Loureiro, the race winner from yesterday, quickly into the lead of the race. Some stunning BMWs and different eras. I mean, this is the great thing about this series. It's about your performance rather than what engine size or... And they like to be quite authentic. They were telling us yesterday, the chairman, Bernard de Gouveia, that you can't come here with too much souped up and turbos. Yeah. It's got to be authentic cars, which is great for the series as well. Sunset's a stunning corner. What are your favorite corners around this track?
I'd probably say Mineshaft. And Mineshaft, Crocodiles. Oh,
really?
It's quite a technical part of the track, so I tend to enjoy the technical parts. And probably Sunset would probably come in as their favorites, yeah.
Well, you've got a lot of straights that are downhill. Of course, the main straight going down to Crowthorne. I mean, we were hearing from the different series yesterday about how late they leave the braking. What's in these cars that you're racing? 50 meters, 100 meters?
Going into turn one.
Yeah, going into
turn one, I'd say between the 80 and 100 meter board.
Okay. Yeah. Don't leave it too late, eh?
Yeah.
But it is a wide corner to make a recovery. And then full taps for you through Mineshaft?
And then Mineshaft is flat out fifth gear.
Flat out fifth gear, hey? All right, so it looks like we've got a vehicle that's got a problem going up to the top of Leeuwkop as we have a dive down the inside. This is a difficult one because look how wide the corner is and you compromise yourself coming into the Cheetah. There's that sausage curve, eh? The yellow sausage curve, eh?
Can't take too much of that or else you're going to get flanked the other way.
Okay, so Pablo Loureiro now, a 152 on that last lap. He's already opened up 5 seconds. And then we've got a car in the gravel, unfortunately. Oh, and it looks like, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to be able to get started there. We'll keep you updated on that. But Leon Loepscher, who was on the podium yesterday in second place, the number 47 then in Iman Modak in third. Car's diving down into Crowthorne, but keep an eye out there. We've got a car in the gravel. Might bring up the yellow flag or more. We did see the race end yesterday, unfortunately, under the safety car as well. So you've got a busy day ahead of you. I guess we better let you get going soon. But
thank you.
Number 75 out there. Right, let's just say, Kwanda, thank you so much for your time. We're wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Cheers, man. Youngest man on the grid, of course, and we're certainly looking out for him a little bit later on. Right, so as mentioned there, the 77, unfortunately, is out. So it's just going to be waved yellows. That's coming up there through the S's. And we're looking to see if we can get the cars. Looks like we're going to continue with the race. We certainly would not like to see another shortened race and the race coming to an end. So let's just remind you, we've got 5 classes, A, B, C, D, E. A for the cars under the 156 mark. From 156 a lap time to a 202, you're in the B class. Oh, and there we go. Safety car is out. The SC board is up. And unfortunately, Paulo Ribeiro is going to have to slow down now. He's already through the start-finish. He did a 151.7 that time. And there we go. And that is the Crocodiles, eh? Quando talking about how he loves that corner. I don't know, it's taken lots of victims this weekend. And you can see you going to the gravel. Wheels just spinning there, not able to get going, unfortunately. Right, so everyone's going to have to just slow down. Now, does give us a chance to give you a little update as to where we are running in the field. So it's the number 11, Lerero, who's currently leading the way. No surprise there. Started third on the grid after his race victory yesterday. In second, it's the 66 of Leon Loubser, the Bidwheels BMW E92. 47 then in third, it's Iman Modak in the MIM Autos BMW E46 in third place. In B class, it's the 116 of Lyle Ramsey. He is in the BMW E36. Then we've got the 48 in B class. That is the Nick Makris in the BMW E46 335i Turbo. And then the number 12, it's Ari van der Berg. Consistently in the top three all week long. Ari in the BMW E36 third in class. So that's the B division. Then C class, we've got the number 45. That is Anwar Levy. Started the week in D class, but he was just too quick. Moved up to C, and he's dominating there as well. So Anwar there leading the class at the moment. The number 45. In second place, it's the 68. And that is Mr. Cochran, Troy Cochran in the Arrow Automotive BMW E36. Second in class in the C. And number 27, Mr. Hilligan there, number 27, Alan Hilligan in the BMW E46 in third in class. Those are your C class runners. D class, it's the number 50 in Gary Martin's, the Grease Monkey Motor Garage. Didn't have a great start to the week, unfortunately, was out in the opening free practice, had a problem with the car, but has bounced back quite nicely and comfortably running there in the top three. So they're in the D class number 50. Second in class in D is the 101, and the BMW E30 number 101 is Reinhard Miller, the Heijo Trans E30, running second in class. And then the number 330, it's Manny Ribeiro, BMW Car Club in Gauteng in the E46, running third in class. And then lastly, of course, our E class towards the back of the field, the 735 of Dave Rees is currently leading the class there in the E36. Second in class is the 88. That's Ari van Heerden in the VTEC Motorsport, BMW E97. Oh, stunning car. And the third in class, the 514 of Kobus Boma in the Pep Shield BMW. Consistently been running third in class. So unfortunately, under safety car, we've had two cars go off there. One in the gravel, coming down the mine shaft into the Crocodiles, and another then, unfortunately, coming up the hill, we saw the smoke towards Leeuwkop. So doubled wade yellows across the field as we're under safety car at the moment. So just 2 laps done so far. We've got an interesting story, of course. Our chairman of the board, chairman of the race series, Bernard Gouveia, got to speak to him a little bit yesterday about the series, and he says they used to have Peter K. Eddy at the track days. He used to manage K. Eddy Estates racing teams for many years. And he decided a couple of years ago to let a young lad from Polo Cup race the original Tony Viani E30 Shadowline that he owns. So a very special, unique car. And that young man's name was Sheldon van der Linde. Hey, it was his first experience in a rear-wheel drive race car. And Peter K. Eddy from K. Eddy Estates had a racing team for many years in the series. And he had this iconic E30 Shadowline. And he let a young man by the name of Sheldon van der Linde. So he's steeped in history. And speaking to Bernard and the team, they are so proud of this series. We had 59 cars start the weekend. We had 47 starting this race. And it looks like with a couple of casualties, we're down to 42 at the moment. That's motorsport, eh? As the cars come through once again, unfortunately, we've had a few incidents over yesterday and this morning already. And with the very tight time schedule we have. We unfortunately can't allow for too much extra time. So still to come this morning, it's the Mobil V8 Series up next. Then the CompCare Polo Cup to look out for. Those come your way over the next hour. Then the GTC rounds up the local series for us at 20 minutes to 11. We've got a couple of historic cars on the track, including Mr. Schechter. We'll see a bit later. And then the build-up from 1 o'clock starts right here as we get ready for the Kyalami 9-hour. So still behind the safety car here in the BMW M Sport Series, the Performance Parts Race Series, rather. Round 2 of the season, the opening round having taken place. And the team, of course, are preparing for a busy schedule, mostly in the Gauteng area, but they are going to go to Pekisa. And for the first time this year, they're going to head down to Aldo Scribanti, down in Nelson Mandela Bay, and their first ever coastal race. And looking forward to seeing how the cars perform down along the coastline. So used to, of course, setting these vehicles up for up here in the Highveld and inland races, and certainly a very different kind of atmosphere and performance down and in my hometown in Nelson Mandela Bay. Still behind the safety car then for this round 2 of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Yesterday we saw Rick Lorero and brother Paolo leading the way. Unfortunately, Rick, towards the end of the race, going off at Crowthorne and causing a bit of damage to that stunning BMW, the 126 rather, combined racing F30. Unfortunately, a big front-on collision at Crowthorne, and unfortunately the race ending under red flag. But the marshals were outstanding. It wasn't long before we were able to get going with our next race, and it shows you how prepared the amazing team are here at the Kyalami International Circuit. And there you can have a little bit of a glimpse on the right there. You'll see a bit of a track there. That's the 4x4 area. And just up this section over here, just past the 4x4, the racetrack turns right. And, of course, the cars will then be, would have gone on the old race circuit. But, yeah, of course, now it's having changed. In fact, some of drivers who are here this weekend will still talk of those days as they're racing on the way. Well, we've got Charles Laranges joining us from Stradali Motorsport in a short while as we wait for the racing to get underway here in the BMW M Performance Pass Race Series. And yeah, fantastic to have some of our Kyalami 9-hour drivers joining us. So we, of course, spoke to Kwanda a little bit earlier on. And the youngest driver on the track. He's been racing cars for a long time before he even got his own driver's license. Still under safety car here as we welcome Charles Laranges into the studio from Stradali Motorsport. Charles, good morning. Good to have you with us. Eh? What a fantastic day. Excitement building. Are you all ready to go?
Yes, well, we hope so. We've not had the best of weeks yet. Yeah. You know, we've just got into a new car with the Mercedes and getting used to it. So yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a bit frustrating currently.
Absolutely. Right, let's talk about it, because we had, I think, an incident yesterday through Sunset. Didn't look like it had too much impact on the car, so is there anything coming through from that?
No, look, we've Clint luckily used his head. He made a little bit of a mistake while changing driver ID, went in 10 k's too hard into Sunset, and what would have been a big crash wasn't, luckily.
Yes.
And so yeah, no, we got away with little damage. I think it's just it put us back a bit of time with setup, and we tried something for qualifying, and it really backfired on us.
Yeah. Listen, that's raising more questions than answers for us there. What do you mean he's changing his ID while driving? What's happening there?
Yeah, I know. It's so we've got this driver ID system in the car to...
For your setup?
No, to know who's in the car while driving.
This is like the little lights that we see, the LEDs flashing, is it that?
No, yeah, well, you'll see there's a little LED box in the car with a number, either 1, 2, or 3.
Yes, where you are.
Yeah, so that is...
The driver.
So I'll be driver 1. And so yeah, he forgot to change his driver ID as he went out the pits, and when he was told to do it, I think it was the wrong time.
So he was going into Sunset
and trying to change his driver ID. Yeah.
Do you back off for sunsets normally?
Yeah, it's like a light tap on the brakes, turn and go, and that was still a bit flat taps, I think, at that point.
We always wondered if you guys are doing long stints, if you get bored in the race. So now we're finding out that you're changing.
No, we're busy in the cars, trust me. Always changing stuff, and so yes.
Yeah, all South African teams, Stradali Motorsport. I mean, I know it's been challenging, but it still must feel very special being here. And of course, being in front of the home fans this weekend.
Exactly. Look, to be quite honest, every year it's a challenge. It's a reality check when you have to race against the best of the best in the world. And last year we had pretty much the same result in practice and qualifying, and then came the race, and we were right there. So we're not writing off the race yet.
Just yet. So when are you going to be driving?
We are actually having a meeting after this.
We'll find out.
Yeah, look, normally I would start the race, but after yesterday, I might be demoted a bit.
All right, racing underway here in the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. I mean, this is really the raw part.
This is brilliant racing. I mean, it's a massive group of cars. They're really passionate about their racing.
I loved hearing from them yesterday saying that they're after authentic, and they quickly spot anybody who's coming in with something that's not authentic.
Exactly. Exactly. And I actually raced against a few of the guys, the Lareros at the front there. We regularly race against each other, and those cars are super, super fast.
Well, tell us about your racing calendar. I mean, what have you got all lined up?
Well, after this, should all go well over this weekend. We're racing next weekend in the SAS at Zwartkops, and 2 weeks after we're down in Cape Town again with the GNH Extreme Supercars. So it is just non-stop racing this year. We're running 3 championships, SAS, SAGT, wow, and Extreme Supercars. So it's just non-stop,
flat out,
2 races a month.
And different cars?
Well, no, not for me this year. I want to keep to the Mercedes as much as possible. Looks like myself and Clint will be campaigning the whole of SAS this year. And we have a few programs for different cars, The Audi has to race as well. So.
Of course. Well, one of the things we've been asking the drivers in the various series is about this iconic track and the race lines, because we notice very different racing lines taken. Everyone finding their groove. So is there a perfect lap around here, perfect race line?
Well, if there is, go and ask Marciello.
he knows.
He pretty much did brilliantly yesterday. Look, I mean, every year when we get here, it's literally a new track. It's like, I've never raced here. That's just how it feels. The lines are ridiculous what these pros do and where they go, and the laptops just keep tumbling. So, it's trying to keep up with them and whatever they're doing.
And you learn a little bit from them by sort of following a little bit, if you can?
That, yes. We're lucky that we've got full AMG backing this weekend, so we have a form of data share between us, which helps us quite a lot. But still, seeing it and then trying to implement it is 2 different things.
Absolutely. Just we've got Paulo Loureiro at the moment, 1:48.4, 1 minute 48.4. I mean,
fantastic.
You guys were doing 1:43s, 1:44s yesterday?
Yes. No, I mean, for locally built BMWs, look, I also know these boys push big horsepower. I've raced against him with the Lamborghini, and straight off the line, they just bomb you with all that horsepower. But yes, I mean, it's fantastic the times these boys are doing.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice insight for us about sort of the step up from this, which is hobby. This is what my sport is, but to take it to a professional level, to where you are sort of racing at, and then to go to a Marciello is another level. I mean, that's, and those times you think, Gareth, you're only talking about 2 seconds here. Surely it's not that difficult. I mean, it is miles apart.
It is miles. I mean, we were yesterday a good 2 and a bit seconds off in qualifying, our best time, and you're on the raggedy edge, and it's like, but how do these guys do
it?
This?
Where are they getting the time?
And when you actually see their data, it makes it clear. Don't make a mistake. just the amount of corner speed these guys carry. It's what they can do with the limited amount of tire we have is fantastic.
And is that a talent thing? Is it what they have at their the resources they have? What can you put it down to something?
It's a bit of everything, but I think the biggest thing is experience. I mean, if you just take Jules Gunong, he's probably raced this year more than we would race the whole year, just in this first 2 months. So to put that in perspective, I mean, they drive a lot, and the cars they drive, that's all they drive.
It's amazing.
It helps.
Yeah.
We jump from car to because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And obviously it keeps us a bit behind.
And it's a busy schedule for them. I know there's only 5 rounds in this Intercontinental GT, but they've got a full program.
Yeah, look, I think these boys, they never sit still. The factory drivers, they are posted all over the world. So, no, if they've got an off weekend, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stands out when you see them walking down the pits is they're like top athletes. They're like super thin. They've got 6 packs, and there's like not an ounce of fat on them, because I think to be at that level all the time, I mean, you're obviously losing a lot of weight doing these many laps, eh?
Yeah. No, look, I like to call them they're like a new age jockey, basically. I mean, these boys are like small, light, and they have to perform week in and week out. And I mean, Sheldon being one as well. He's a tall boy, but geez, I mean, he's half my size.
Half your size. Okay, let's stop comparing now. Let's talk about that Mercedes that you've got.
Yes.
I mean, I know you're finding your feet in it, but wow, what a machine, what a sound, hey?
No, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've driven probably most of the GT3 cars out there. And no.
Yeah, let me just give you an update here, folks, because we're having such fun chatting to Charles here, but it is the end of the race here in the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Unfortunately, we're not seeing lap times on the screen, so that is catching us out a bit, but it is Larero who takes it, and lap 8, he did a 1:48.4 was his quickest lap time. Ahead of him, just behind him, Leon Lobsher, second in class in the BMW E92, and the number 920 Carbini, the E46. That's a fantastic result for Carlo. He's not really featured at all at the top of the top 3 in any of the weekend so far. So a fantastic result for him. In B class, it's number 116, Lyle Ramsey. He's dominated the B class all weekend long in free practice and qualifying, and he takes victory in the B class. Second, we've got the number 12, Van der Berg, Ari Van der Berg. He's in the BMW E36. We've got a diesel out here. Who's letting diesels on the track? There we go. That's the number. No, what's next? Land Rover's on the track here. Number 82 going through, Varish Ganpath in the E46 3330 CR Turbo going through. Yeah, I would also be applauding a diesel going around here.
And at speed.
That's very impressive there. All right, so some more race results coming through for you, and of course we'll keep you updated right here on the day with on our YouTube channel, and of course look out Kyalami 9-hour. Just coming back here, I mean, just we're talking a bit about the experience of the cars around the track, but this Mercedes that you've got, is there more speed in it? I mean, is it a setup thing?
It's set up, to be quite honest. You know, speed, everything is relevant. Yeah, I mean, we bang on the same top end as
them,
as a
top
car
guys.
that did a 42 dead yesterday. So, you know, it's just that little fine tuning, and it's getting to that sweet spot. But we will get there. I mean, we've been racing for the past how many years with mid-engine cars, so yeah.
So you think you can go quicker? That's what you're saying.
Obviously, we will.
Yes.
It is a fight. The boys are working their bums off at the moment, so yeah.
I think that's what's really stood out for me. Coming early on Wednesday, I mean, some of these cars arrived here in pieces, putting it together. These mechanics have been working through the night.
Yes.
And of course, then having to get the fines set up and get everything right for the race is so important. So 9 hours out here. Do you strategize? Do you focus on what you need to do in this 9 hour time?
Yes. Look, we luckily we're 3 drivers, and we've each got an hour stint, roughly an hour stint. So, you know, it is it's getting through your stint as fast as possible, and then also, you know, giving as much feedback back to the team, to the drivers that's getting in the car. I think for us today, it's keeping our noses clean,
Yes.
and, you know, making it to the end of the race without spending any time in the pits.
Yeah.
That's kind of our plan for the day.
Yeah, I want to come back to sort of the times of the day and night time and that transition. We've had some challenging weather times. It looks like we've got a nice clear day ahead of us.
Lovely day.
Lovely day for it. We're going to have a quick look at some of the highlights then of the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. We can see the Lerero.
Like I said, that horsepower.
We just put him at the back, I think. Look at, he's gone already.
Yeah,
Around
I know.
sunset, he was long gone. This was, it looks like it actually touched the grass on the inside there in
Yep.
the Crocodile. Very easy to do.
Very easy.
Another car, unfortunately. Oh, that was the old man that we spoke to yesterday who's just loving being here. A safety car came out, unfortunately, 2 vehicles on the track, and then just gave Lerero a chance just to show his pace once again. Hey?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's, of course, 5 different classes here. Oh, a little twitch there. Does this happen with tyres going off, or is it the temperature of the track, or what is it?
No, it's most of the time, I would say, just a bit of setup. So, yes.
And here comes the race victory then for the younger Lerero brother. Of course, Rick, unfortunately, missing out, crashing yesterday.
Yes.
There we go. Ingwe, the final corner. Stunning scenes here at the Kyalami now, all set to go. I've got Charles joining me here from Stradali Motorsport. So, 9 hours to come. Is there a better time of the day to race? So, I mean, you still have to pick. You still have to decide. But
Yeah.
is there a better time?
Look, to start the race is always fun.
Spectacular.
It's you right in the mix. But I must say, I enjoy the nighttime driving. Everything's cooler. The car just works better. But yes, your senses are at maximum
Yes.
for the night driving. I mean, the pace of these cars, and it's like split seconds. And you know, we can have all the lights in the world. I'm not going to lie. You see very
Nothing.
little.
You see very little.
You see very little.
Well, we want to know about that breaking point as you go up to Leeuwkop, because, I mean, I assume you look for a tree or a marker or
No.
something like that. Now it's just instinct.
It's literally even in the race, it's very much instinct.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. I asked Arnold, my co-driver, he's hectic on the data, and I'm like, where am I braking compared to Marciello or
to them.
Kunan? And he's like, no, you bang on. I'm like, why the hell am I so slow? You know, so it's
Amazing.
that thing where it's instinct where you brake. It's carrying that speed through the corner. That's currently, you know, we know how to do it with a Lamborghini, not so much with a Mercedes yet.
Yeah. We noticed that also lap times seem to get quicker at the night time. So for new race fans, give us a little insight. Why is that? I mean, surely it should be slower.
No, it's like I said, everything's cooler. The car's running cooler. The tires aren't overheating. So a tire's worst enemy is track temp, and you'll see in Formula One the drivers start moaning when the track temp gets close to 50 degrees. That's our norm in South Africa. We run at 50, 55 degree track temps, and that's where we're going to run for, you know, most of the race in the daytime. As soon as the temps drop, the car just changes. There's more grip. Everything works.
It's amazing. I've never
Yes.
heard a Formula One driver complain. Anyway,
Yeah, no.
air temperature at the moment 25.9, but track temperature already 42 degrees.
Like I say, by 1 o'clock today, it's going to be way over 50, and
It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
I know.
Favorite part of the track? Do you have one?
I must say, you know, obviously the fast stuff is always fun. You know, sitting there and lap after lap, just having that confidence to go flat out
Yeah.
through the mine shaft is awesome. But this weekend, I've really fell in love with the S's. It's you know, with the Lamborghini, it's a twitchy car, so you know you're always on edge through there. With the Mercedes, it's like you pitch it in and you just plant it, and just G-forces, my word, it's fun.
And it does seem like we've mentioned earlier, a lot of racing lines, so overtaking. We haven't seen a lot of it in some of the other series, because I think every series is different. We saw in the single-seaters earlier, it was quite difficult to overtake. Maybe BMWs, maybe a little bit more different. We've got, of course, V8 still to come, and Polo Cups, very close action there.
Yes.
So is that really because of the track, or is it because of the car, or driver experience to find that overtaking point?
I think it's series related, to be quite honest. You know how the rules are with the Intercontinental. Our BOPs are so vastly different, and the cars are so vastly different. So, I don't think it's going to be a case of the pole sitter might be first into turn one with a BMW perhaps next to him. We've seen there's quite a big difference in top end.
Yes.
But then, that's what makes GT3 racing so incredible.
Yeah.
It's like one car can be fast down the straight, but not so good through the corners, and that's
absolutely.
where we are now.
I want to just come back to BOP in a moment, because we see Robert Volk going out on the track. So why would he be doing that? I mean, he's not racing till later. Do they check setup? Or?
No, they normally call that a hardship lap.
Okay.
So if there was some problem, they'll get one lap to literally go out the pits and go straight back in if there was a problem.
Okay. All right. We've, of course, got the Mobil V8 Series. This is exciting. Rolling Thunder.
Exciting. Yeah, and the sound as well. I mean, the Rolling Thunder.
Have you driven one of these?
Yes, I actually have. And, it's such a different experience. You're talking about with a car with a locker diff at the back. We run limited slip diffs. So there's always one wheel turning, and then the other wheel will start turning as soon as you're coming through a corner, where these two wheels always turn. So you do kind of drive them with the rear. It always feels sideways, let me put it to you like that.
And it's interesting, because if you walk through the pits, and obviously the fans are going to get that amazing experience to go and see the cars and meet the drivers, but it's almost like you can line up the guys in Mobil V8, and you can line up the guys maybe in a different series, and you're like, oh, these guys are V8 drivers. Yes. There's something about them, man.
No, look, they are real, tough racers. These cars are a handful at the best of times. So, when they start going sideways, it becomes fun. And in these cars, I would suggest sideways is almost quick in them, as you really race them with the behind. It doesn't look sideways from the outside, but from inside, you always feel loose.
Yeah, I think if you're coming on the track, just go and have a look at the size of the tires.
It's massive.
It is. I mean, this is
bigger than the GT3s.
GT3s. I mean, this is like Formula One kind of size tires at the back there.
Yeah.
It's small, a little bit smaller on the front tire, I think. A little bit, just a little bit narrower, but just the most amazing car, and probably one of the most spectacular to watch around this track.
Yes. Especially when they start throwing flames and all that, it really is spectacular.
And if you've got a bit of water, you can be forgiven for thinking they're power boats on here.
Yes.
With their sound,
yes.
The spray that they have is quite spectacular.
It's really good.
Mackie Adlam, of course, the 6-time champion.
No, look, Mackie rules this class year in and year out, and I know he's doing fantastic.
He's got a whole crowd that's following.
Yes.
I mean, it's just amazing. You've got to go down there. I would say if he should have a caravan that he should be towing behind. He should be sleeping here, because it's that kind of caravanning vibe about this.
Yes.
We're down a little bit on the numbers, because unfortunately we had one or two cars with some problems. But Franco Di Matteo, who's actually going to be, I think he's in the pace car for you guys.
Yes, him and Julian are in the pace car. Julian Familiaris, that's actually second there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Franco, unfortunately, he hasn't had a great weekend. He had a broken steering pump early on, and Mackie Adlam, in fact, had a broken gearbox.
Oh my word!
In free practice, so they were a little bit off the pace. But don't worry about Mackie, because he won the race yesterday.
He won the race yesterday.
Here he's starting. I think it's 5th on the grid as pace car peels off, and get ready for Rolling Thunder. This sound. It's probably one of the best that you're going to get this weekend. Okay, outside from the 9L, we'll give it to the boys. Here comes Di Matteo, alongside him Familiaris in the LubeNet Di Matteo Racing GWR Corvette. Beautiful looking car.
Yeah, that's the best looking one of the
and at the back there we've got the Swede, Sten Jarl. Right, here we go. Waiting for the lights to change.
Oh, Thomas got a good start there.
And of course, Thomas Reeb has been very strong on the inside line. He's been very strong all weekend. Play nicely, boys, please. Coming through 4 abreast going into the first corner. Mackie hasn't got his way. He was hoping for the inside line. Franco defending quite nicely. Yeah. Whoa. Ooh. Is there a... Yeah. And there we... Wow, the number 9 then getting spun around. Thomas Reeb, who's dominated all weekend. Is it easy to restart a V8?
Well, looks like it.
Looks like he kept the engine going. Looks like a bit of body work there, which should be fine. He can continue.
Bit of a touch.
Well, now we are going to see the 6-time champion, what he's really got.
Yes. He lost a bit of time there.
Because now looks like he's running in 5th place. And we can see if he can close up. Oh, if you're coming down to the track, you've got to get down to Clubhouse. Look at the fans gathering. They're looking for a bit of shade because it's going to be a hot day.
Very hot.
But seeing these cars come through the S's is
And
absolutely spectacular.
And Julian got a brilliant start from second.
All right, so this is the opening lap here of the Mobil V8 Series. I didn't actually see where Familiaris got ahead there. Could have been in the midst of all of that spinning and stuff.
I think exactly that.
Charles Orangi's joining me in studio. Are you able to stay a little bit longer?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to cross over to the pits for a moment because Ricky is down there with one of our racers.
So tell me about the race and how it went.
The race was good. I was fourth in my class, but I'm driving a normally aspirated car, and all the other guys around me are driving a turbo car, so they're just faster on the straight. I can't catch them. There's no way. Even though my lap time is faster, but behind them, you lost. But it was a good race. We had a good time with several guys here. It was fun. It was nice.
As long as you had a good time. You mentioned that you're moving to Germany, so is this the last time that we're going to see you in South Africa?
No, for sure not. I'm moving to Germany for work in 10 days, but I will be back each. Kyalami is my second favorite. My most favorite one is the Nürburgring, the old Nürburgring in Germany, because I did some thousand laps there. And this is pretty much close to the Nürburgring, much safer, much more space if you go off. The Nürburgring is quite dangerous, but this is a great track. I would call it the second best I've ever been, and I've been to some tracks around Europe.
Well, thanks for being honest. It is your second, but it's still your favorite in South Africa, so we absolutely love that. Gareth, let's see what's happening with you in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Of course, Andreas Meyer there racing in that BMW E36. Lovely to hear the story there. And of course, a bit of drama here in the Mobil V8s. Charles Orangi's alongside me. Looks like Mackie Adlam spinning there.
Yes.
A rare mistake. Is that going through Sunset?
Yes, it looks like it. I think, it's one of those things where you really you get frustrated. You want to push as hard as possible. And
we'll have a look at that spin again. Yeah, Mackie Adlam then looks like obviously he's a bit behind now with that earlier incident. So he was obviously pushing quite hard. There we go. Just through Sunset.
That's just pushing the envelope a wee bit too hard. I think Mackie must just take a step back there. He's faster than everyone on the track, so he'll get through them.
Yeah, so he's down into 7th place at the moment. Let's just give you the running order. So it's Familiaris looking comfortable at 1.2 second now ahead of De Matteo. De Matteo starting on pole led, but then this little incident that we had early on unfortunately compromised his race. The number 6 is Warren Lombard in the Pep Boys Automotive Ford Falcon. He's up into 3rd place now. Terry Wilford in the Ford Mustang in 4th. And then the Swede, Sam Dahl, he's really benefited from all of the chaos ahead of him. The Swede now up into 5th place. Thomas Reeb, who was the man who got spun around, he's down in 6th place now. Adlam just behind. So we could see them get quite close and racy. Herbstein 7th and Jarl, our second international, down in 9th place at the moment. On to lap number 2. I'll give you a lap time here. Familiaris, he did a 1:47.4 last time out.
Brilliant times, eh? And
really
these
quick
cars
racing.
aren't, the best of all is for me, these cars aren't like, hyper modern cars, and to still be able to put these lap times in just shows you, the level of how these guys are keeping these cars on track.
In fact, you'll often see them just touch the gravel. Not a problem. The tires are so wide. Eh?
Yes. But like I say again, it's you really do steer these cars because they are, oldish American design chassis. So you do steer them with the rear, and but yeah, it's just brilliant cars, and hats off to the drivers to keep these cars on track.
Terry Wilford with a big lock up there, but It just shows you how wide this corner is, because we see so many different racing lines going into Crowthorne, and if you do miss your braking point, there is some space.
Yes, there's a lot of space. We actually, in the GT3 cars, you actually tend to use all of the track through Crowthorne.
Get
so
your
yes.
money's worth.
Yes, no, you have to. But it's also momentum. You need to keep the speed going.
Steve Herbst there going in the Chef Corvette, another stunning looking car. He's currently running down in 7th place. So Familiaris now, 2-second lead. He did a 1:47.3 the last lap. Di Matteo, a 1:47.6, keeping an eye, of course, on Mr. Adlam. As his lap times, he's down in 6th place. He did a 1:48.5, so 3rd quickest round out last time out. Thomas Reed, we got spun earlier. Seems like he might have a bit of a problem. That bodywork, I mean, you'd think maybe not having such an impact on such a big car,
it has
but it is.
impact. It's massive. I
It's
mean,
massive.
Coming back to the GT3 cars, we've got this thing on the Merc, and that's something we have to figure out as well. It's like your splitter angle and degree that actually plays such a big role in
the front of the car.
Yes, and the handling. So
Wow.
yeah, we're still figuring out on what angle
The right
the splitter
angle.
works perfectly.
Right, here's that replay of the first corner, and it's actually Mackie.
Yeah,
He
it
might have
looks
got
like
squeezed
Mackie.
a bit
Yes.
that knocked Thomas. So unfortunately, it's a bit of his own doing there as well. But
Yes.
he might have just been squeezed, but not enough space through there. We were talking about how wide the corner is, but not that much space.
No.
Unfortunately.
Not for 4 cars next to each other.
Yeah. So
But you might see that in the GT3 race later on. These boys like to press everyone for all the space on track.
yeah, well, I mean, who can forget 2019, the first 9 hour we were back here, and Marciello, I think it was the first or second lap, just getting tagged there. He was in contention for the championship, and unfortunately, it was gone with
Yes.
that little touch.
Yes.
So anything can happen. And so you want to keep your nose clean for as long as possible. Got a long way
It's-
to go.
Exactly, 9 hours, but it's nine sprint races, to be quite honest.
Give us an idea about the tank size. I mean, how long can you go a stint?
So we are allowed only to be on track for 65 minutes on a stint.
Wow.
That doesn't mean driver. The car is only allowed to be on the track for 65 minutes maximum.
Yes.
So you can double stint, but normally anything from 55 to 65 minutes we'll pit. And tank size is, we balanced on tank size as well. So this weekend on the Mercedes we're running 111 liters of fuel
111 liters of fuel.
in an hour. Yes, we'll probably use about 90 to just under 100 in an hour.
Where is this tank? 111 liters.
Yes, the actual tank size is probably 130 liters, but
you
balanced this weekend, so we had to make it smaller. So yes, or the capacity smaller.
Well, I want to come back to BOP still. That's fun because this is so fascinating about the series. But here we go. Mackie Adlam, he's calmed down a bit. He's taken a deep breath. And the two who came together earlier are back together now. And it's Thomas Reed, who's got a little bit of damage on the body. As mentioned, he doesn't quite have the lap times. Last time out is a 1:48.6. I mean, are these cars easy to overtake?
Well, it's just to use the bravest under braking, I would suggest. There's nothing between them in horsepower wise, so
Yes.
it's all under braking.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out there going down into the first corner. Mackie Adlam there, Thomas Reed, they've certainly been the men to beat. We actually got a back marker now that they've caught up with. And it's given Thomas now a bit of a breather now.
Yes.
We are 5 laps in, so just a few to go. A bit of bodywork flying off there, probably just on the track, or possibly from his car. He's got a little bit of damage there. That's the number 6 of Lombard. So in fact, that is a change then, because Lombard was running the number 6 in 4th, and Thomas Reed and Mackie Adlam have got past now. So that's an actual change on the track there, not a back marker. So it looks like Lombard might have a little bit of a problem there on the car. So Reeb and Adlam will then move up into the top 5. And how far is Wilfred ahead? No, he's got about 5 seconds. I'm not sure there's going to be enough time to close that gap. Still, Familiaris, he's comfortably out in front. He's got a 1:47.1 last time out. Di Matteo in second. He's got much closer there.
Yes.
coming down into the crocodiles. Can so easily wheel spin here.
Yes, quite easy, even in a GT3.
So are they going to come together for a second time?
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. Play nicely, boys. In fact, we were so impressed by the F1600s with these open wheels. They were so close together. As Mackie comes through, not much difference on the straight line really between the cars. I mean, is he going to just keep an eye on that first corner? Is he going to feel that aerodynamic change there with the damage on the car on the straight?
Slightly. You'll just have a slight problem when turning in, bit of understeer. But more than that, on these cars, I don't think it's such a big impact. These are a lot more mechanically driven cars, so.
He's very close now. Very boys. And not an overtaking spot there. And I don't think Clubhouse is either, unfortunately, for these cars. And it's a very fast corner still.
Yes. But depending on how brave you are under braking, I would suggest. But Thomas is not a slouch.
Yeah. Well, just remind you, Mackie Adlam unfortunately spinning earlier. And then he also had it coming together, so he had to slow down as he tagged Thomas Reeb. So he's had 2 incidents in this race already. He's up into 5th at the moment. He won the opening race, starting from 3rd on the grid. Today he was on 5th. But he's currently running in 5th position at the moment.
And the two of them are catching Terry at quite a rate.
There we go. In fact, Terry last time out was a 152. These two are doing 148s. 148.8 for Reeb and 148.9 for Adlam. Of course, he did have a little bit of traffic as well. Just your leader, Familiaris, he's in the 148 as well last time out. Fastest lap of the race is a 147 as well. So we've got Di Matteo coming across the line now. And now heading into the final corner for Ingwe, and which should see the start, I think, of the last lap. Last lap indeed. There we go. Oh, we've got Terry Wilfred, we've got Thomas Reeb, and we've got Mackie Adlam, all within a second of each other. This is where they came together early on. Oh, that is such a beautiful car. Okay, the number 20 Familiaros leading the way. He's got 10 seconds over Di Matteo in second. A further 12 seconds back to the battle behind. He's going through, heading to the S's now. So he's just cruising back to the finish line. Di Matteo also looking comfortable. Wilfred now 0.8 seconds behind. There's the battle.
Past Wilfred.
And they've got past Wilfred.
Yes.
He must have made a mistake.
Yeah, I think there's something not quite right with his car there.
It's
not like
quite
Terry
far back.
to slow down like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thomas Reeb now up into 3rd place. So can you believe it? Despite the spin, he's going to finish on the podium.
Can you think?
Unless, I'm not sure Mackie's going to be happy with that. Familiaris then down the mine shaft for the last time. He's really backed off now, 2 seconds off his fastest lap because he's just cruising, bringing it home here. Stay away from that sausage curb. The big yellow one there. Do you guys keep an eye on that one, eh?
No, we don't actually.
You hit it.
Yeah, it doesn't unsettle our cars luckily too much. So yeah.
Okay, there we go. It's a race victory for Familiaros in the Lubnet. Di Matteo Racing, GWR Chevrolet Corvette, taking up a race 2 win here, the Mobil V8 Series. Ooh, is that heavy braking or smoke coming?
There is smoke coming out. There's something definitely not right.
Oh, he's going to hold on, just take it easy. Don't push too hard. And it's Di Matteo, Franco Di Matteo in the Deltec Batteries Jaguar. Also a beautiful looking car. And there we go to the front.
Thomas has it.
And Thomas has it. It looked for a moment like he might have done it, but maybe justice for spinning him around earlier on as well. All right, so this is now Di Matteo. We can see there, that's not bodywork. That looks like it's something inside. Hard to tell there, but looks like he had a bit of a drift around that corner as well there.
Be diff or something like that.
Yeah, smoke's going to come into the cockpit there, make it a bit uneasy as well. He hasn't had it his way this weekend. Fortunately, Di Matteo in the GT race last night was out. Yesterday he was out as well, so yeah, it just hasn't gone his way this weekend. So let's give you those race results then. So it's the number 20 in the Chev Corvette, Familiaros picking up the victory. And race 2 in the Mobil V8 Series, Di Matteo in second, finishing in a bit of smoke, but he takes the second place nonetheless. Thomas Reid, who got spun around earlier, we'll have a look at that in a moment, in the Chev Lumina, finishing third just ahead of the 6 times champion Mackie Adlam. It's going to look very interesting in the championship, by the way, because Mackie won the opening race. Terry Wilfred then seemed like he had a bit of a problem coming out of barbecue because Adlam and Reed managed to get past quite easily out on the support race pit straight. Lombard in 6th. Sam Dahl, the international from the Arc Pro Tech Falcon, finishing then in 7th ahead of Herbst, and the Swede in Jarl coming across the finish line. Well, still to come across the finish line. And yeah, another fantastic Mobil V8 Series race. So no real balance of power for these guys, but for you guys, it's a big thing. I mean, we're hearing about quite a bit of added weight coming to race leaders and things. So tell us, for those who don't know, firstly, just tell us about what is BOP.
Okay, so BOP is, in essence, they call it balance of performance. So because not one car is exactly the same, you know, that they have to be balanced to be able to race against each other.
So to make it competitive and exciting.
Yes.
Just coming back to the highlights now, this was the opening. You can see Mackie Adlam in the yellow there. He was desperate to get through in there. He just touched Thomas Reeb and possibly getting squeezed. I mean, there's not a lot of space. They're all looking for that tight inside line. And then he's trying to push, and he just goes on the grass.
He was lucky there.
He was
very lucky.
Look, he's an experienced driver, so he must have felt it going. Di Matteo then in 2nd. He was trying to put some pressure on, a little bit of a lock-up here from the cars. They were all pushing really hard. The temperature of the track really warm. This is where the race was at, though. They've already come together once, but in the end, it was Thomas Reid that came home. There's Di Matteo in 2nd. Looks like he did. I wonder if he even looked like he might have touched some oil there or something. The Familiaros coming in for the victory. Race 2. Mobil V8 Series. Charlotte Runge is joining me in studio, but we're going to cross over quickly to the pits, and Ricky has one of our racers with her.
Okay, so I've got the very young 17-year-old Leighton Fourie. Doesn't even have his license yet he's just racing, which I find absolutely amazing. So tell me, it's the first time that you are driving locally with a rear-wheel drive car. How did that go for you?
Yeah, we raced a rear-wheel drive car at Hockenheim in the DTM series about a few months ago. But yeah, first time here locally in a rear-wheel drive car, and yeah, just trying to really learn and understand it better. So when we go over there, it's we can understand it and use that potential.
And so is that what's next for you? Tell me your plans coming up.
Yeah, so in 3 months when the DTM starts, I'll be heading over there with Sheldon and them, and we race in the support series and the BMW M2 SupaCup. So yeah, we're looking to check the championship there and just learn really. It's a different atmosphere there.
That's amazing, very, very exciting. I have to say also your car looks phenomenal. So I believe you've had it wrapped, and Darren, who wraps your cars, is here. So let's have Darren in here.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Do you want to tell me about the process, about how you wrap it?
So basically, like bucket lists, they come to us with a design concept, and then we initialize that, print it, we use a cast vinyl, and then we wrap all the cars. You know, it helps distinguish the cars on the track. So we do bucket lists, we do for fast developments for Gazoo Racing, as well as WCT for all the cars out there. And it's just one way to make the car stand out on the track, and it's a lot easier than working with paint, yeah.
And how long does the whole process take?
Well, wrapping a car, something like this takes a day, but to do a full wrap like with the Gazoo Racing and that, we take about 2-3 days to do that because we wrap the whole cars. Whereas this had a base coat already, all those cars we wrap from scratch, yeah.
And just one more question, do you only do race cars or
we do
on-road?
Cars. So actually, if you saw the safety cars out there, we do all the safety cars that are here as well for the BMW driving experience. So we do any kind of car, any kind of bike that you want to do, yeah.
Amazing. So I might actually come visit you guys for mine. Gareth, back to you in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Focus on the racing, Ricky, please. Thank you. Right. Of course, it's a big festival taking place, and why not? Crowds are pouring in. Having looked back across the track, taking from Crowthorne all the way up to Barbecue and Sunset, I don't think there's a space available for a car. It's very warm outside. Can make for a very interesting Kyalami 9-hour. Charles Arunjis from Stradali Motorsport joining me as we get ready for the CompCare Polo Cup. We can see the cars lining up there in the support race pits. Let's wrap up our chat about BOP. So trying to make the race as fair as possible. So
Yes.
will there be penalties for some?
No, yeah, well, we've had 2 balance changes already for the weekend. So prior to the race, 2 weeks, we'll get the balance of performance, where we basically set our cars up, put the right restrictors in, make sure that the weight is ready, the ride heights are where they want it, and all that type of stuff. Then during the race weekend, the SRO will or won't change the BOP. We were hoping to get a bit bigger restrictor for the Mercedes, and then thanks to Group M, we got more weight.
Oh, because
Any
they
case.
are on pole.
Yeah. So yeah, the Mercs really are fantastically good around this track, and have been doing fantastically well through the past, 4 or 5 intercontinental races, winning everything. So, it was bound to happen that the BOP was going to change. So yeah, we are, from where we started this weekend to now, we are almost 20 k's heavier.
So this is like a plate that they would come and bolt and put into the car.
Yeah, no. So we as a team, we have to carry weight, and we've got a ballast box in the car. So when they change the weight, we have to make sure that the car's at that minimum weight, go to the scales, go through the whole shebang.
Yeah, we saw, in fact, I think it was on Friday, a trolley coming along with these.
Yes.
Looked like big, like a fishing sinker almost, but
Yes.
a big flat one.
Yes, yes.
And you just hear, dun, 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 who's getting more
Exactly,
weight?
and it's always us.
Listen, just quickly, your competition, just your thoughts, the Audis, of course, a lot of locals here, but Temto Racing joining as well. Dave,
Yes.
impressed?
Yeah, they're very quick, and those Evo 2s. Those Evo 2s are quite quick, as it is, and they got a bigger restrictor last night. So just to make it a bit more difficult.
All right, so it's a developing story, so
Yes,
we'll come back to that.
yes.
All right, let's cross over to Ricky, who's in the pits.
Paulo. Okay, so just got the man, Paulo Lodorio, and it's been a bit of a bittersweet kind of race for you. Let's start with the good. I believe that you've just won the race. It was a bit of a touch and go between you and your brother, but let's start with the good and you winning.
So the good was obviously now in a race 2 the car was fine. We had a few issues previously with it overheating, but this morning it ran smoothly. Temps were like good. I'm just really glad that like Riddick's fine. It was a hectic accident. Obviously, losing brakes down to turn 2 is hectic, but he's fine. Car can be fixed, and I would like to just dedicate this second overall race win to him, and we'll then move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's really exciting for you, and I know that there was a lot of competitive nature between the two of you yesterday, and it was so nice to see. And then it was first, second, in free practice. But I'm so glad to hear that he is okay. He's not here today.
He'll come through a little bit later, but sure. I mean, it is racing. We are brothers, and we'll always love each other, and it's a sport, and that's how it goes, eh?
Well, I'm really, really glad that he is okay, even if he's not here today. So, Gareth, let's see what's happening with you in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Great to see that Rick is doing well, and nice that you'll be back with us a little bit later on. Charles, just finally from you, in terms of expectations this afternoon, what's a priority for you guys?
Look, I think first and foremost, it's to finish well with the first race that we're doing with the Mercedes, and from there is just to keep the car on the track. It's if we can keep our noses clean, we can definitely get a result. These international boys are very quick. We haven't got a pro driver per se in the car, but we've got consistency between the 3 drivers. So I think it's we'll get there. We might be the surprise package.
Absolutely. And lastly, what do you do now for the next 3-4 hours? I mean, you've got a meeting, a bit of a strategy plan coming up.
Admin. Basically admin. Always admin, and then there's a pit walk and autographs and all that. But it's a full busy day. And when you wipe your eyes out, we start the race.
And do you eat something, or do you stay away from food for a bit?
No, geez, I'm a burkie. I like to eat, and I like to just do whatever I want to do.
Shoal, wishing you and the team all the best. Thank you so much for joining us here in studio. All the best.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right, so out on track, a bit of maintenance being done. So it does seem like there was a bit of oil on the track, and so we are just preparing. Marshall's doing an outstanding job. They were here first this morning. They'll be last to leave. Last night when we were heading out around 9 o'clock, they were having a briefing, so they're just outstanding here at Kyalami. So up next, we've got the CompCare Polo Cup, and it's the 27th season of this breeding ground of fantastic racing stars. More power this year once again, and certainly looking forward to the race coming up in a short while. So Marshall's just preparing the track, and we'll get ready to go for the CompCare Polo Cup. But I'm thrilled to introduce Adam Brown, the CEO of the Kyalami 9 Hour, joining me live in studio. Wow, this is spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking good, eh? The sun's shining. People are out here having fun.
Having fun. It's been a long week for you guys. How's all the preparation going?
No, it's gone well. I mean, it's a major event, so there's a heck of a lot of people behind the scenes putting long hours in. Yeah. Not everything goes smoothly. It's a live event, so it's about finding solutions, fixing it, moving on to the next one. And again, luckily, I've got a great team behind me that just keep delivering every year, so we're very happy.
The track, of course, is looking phenomenal at the moment. In fact, I mean, many saying world class, amongst the best. We've even heard from some of the drivers, international drivers, saying this is among the best in the world.
Well, I mean, exactly that. I mean, it's an iconic track. I mean, we say world class. I think it's more than that. It's one of the best tracks in the world. You have international experts coming out here, and you're looking at the track and the topography. I mean, anywhere around the track, you've got a fantastic view. You can see the action. You can feel the cars. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Intercontinental GT Challenge, round 2, a very exciting season, of course, starting up in Bathurst. Obviously, I'm sure you would have liked a few more cars here, but it certainly does put you in a good place going forward, doesn't it?
No, for sure. And I mean, at the end of the day, we've come through a very hard time. I mean, 2 years of pandemic, the event industry in general has been hurt. For us, I mean, you've got to understand these cars are coming from all around the world. They're not, not just sort of driving across a border. We're flying them in. They're being shipped in. Yeah. Logistic costs. There's a lot of competing races going on. So the grid's going to grow again. We just got to understand that we've got to build it up from the pandemic and get it going. The guys that are here have been incredibly, faithful to us. Really taking the extra mile to be here. I think next year we'll have at least another 9 to 10 cars on the grid.
Fantastic. I mean, talking of that, these cars didn't race in the opening round. These cars have been shipped here 5-6 weeks ago. So you get a different perspective of how big these teams are and what they've got to do to get here. It's not just a case of driving the car across the border, as you say.
No, exactly. And there's a lot that goes behind it. I mean, the cost of actually getting 15 support people here, getting the cars themselves out here, the cost of the cars. I mean, you're talking a couple of $1 million just as a start point. So the sort of dedication behind this by the team owners is fantastic, and we really appreciate it. And they love coming here,
Absolutely.
You go to the Dubai race, they've got 46 cars on the grid. So we just...
46
cars on the grid.
Wow.
So we just got to build up to that. I mean, you look at Australia in the last 2 weeks, they had 29 cars on the grid. I think it may have even been slightly more than that.
Yeah, I think it was more.
But we can get there. And that's just about the motorsport industry coming behind us. It's a growing, I think in the 4 years that we've had this race going, we've seen a significant growth within the local national series. And we just got to get it to a point that those guys are joining the grid and competing at a 9-hour level, which is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about a decade or two ago, you were talking about production cars as premier events. Now it's GT. Everyone's talking GTs.
No, I mean, and you can see why. I mean, it's the noise, it's the atmosphere, it's the feel, it's the excitement around it. I mean, there's other racing going on that doesn't quite compete with that level of sound and excitement and competition.
Yeah, in fact, you could just look at the parking lot and you can see they've got Porsches, McLarens, I mean, Lamborghinis. I mean, it is the poster car that you want, and why not, when you've got one, see them racing as well?
Well, this is the other thing that we find interesting, which I think is good for the future. It's the GT3s are coming into the country in the last 4 years, and this is part of the manufacturers that get behind it. I mean, I think what the stats was right, they were selling a couple a year, but now they're selling significantly more GT3s into the country, and they're racing cars. But what's happening here at the moment, if people are driving them around Cape Town, around Johannesburg, because it's a GT3, we just got to get them to understand that they belong on the grid.
Absolutely. In fact, if you speak to youngsters who are coming out of school and you ask them about their dreams, they will start to talk about a GT car now. You know, I want to own a Porsche.
Well, look at Quandra. I mean, 18-year-old kid that's flying around the track at stupid speeds.
That's just amazing. Adam, I want to ask you about the phenomena that is Sheldon van der Linde. Obviously, winning DTM, winning the 9 hour. I mean, having him here is a big deal.
No, it's fantastic for us. I mean, the van der Lindes in general, Kelvin and Sheldon, they've supported us, fantastically over the years. Amazing skill drivers. They're up there with the best of the international. They're representing South Africa. Sheldon actually went to school with my son, so I'm biased, But they're brilliant. I mean, just to watch them in the cars is amazing. Yeah, fantastic drivers.
And I think it's a testimony to the fact that we've got the talent. We maybe haven't always had the structures, but that feels like it's in place now.
No, it's happening, and obviously we're working closely with MSA. I mean, Anton Roux, chairman of MSA, there's a lot that's happening in the background. Even these last 2 days, we've been bringing people in just to get them to understand what motorsport's about. I mean, we brought this race back in 2019.
Yes, 2019.
The one before that was 86. So there's been, the last Formula One was in 96, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's been a sort of an emptiness around motorsports for a while, other than the fanatics that are in there day by day getting on, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But we just got to bring it to the bigger audience, and I think that's what we're achieving and have achieved over the last 4 years.
Stay with us, Adam. Adam Brown, CEO of Kyalami 9 hour. We want to cross over to the pits because I want to ask you about development up next, because that's very much part of the vision as well. We're going to cross over to Ricky, who's in the pits. We've, of course, just had the V8 race. So, Ricky, what have you got for us?
Two of my favorite people here, Brad Liebenberg and Keegan Campos. Keegan, I'm going to start with you. I believe that you had an epic race yesterday. Tell me about it.
So obviously to start on pole and to go from lights to line, it's the perfect way to start a weekend. And of course, it's the third round my baby's been at the track, and I've managed to do it 3 times in a row, so she's definitely my lucky charm. And I can't ask for a better weekend. We just got to repeat it today now for race 2, starting second on the grid to Jono.
So you're feeling confident for today at least?
I am. I've got the car solid. I know the heat's going to suffer for everyone, so you can't complain about it. But ultimately, head down, I'm looking very forward to race 2 today.
Amazing. I'm sure you're going to be consistent, but I know that you have a rival over here that's hoping to take over from you. Tell me about what happened with your penalty yesterday.
Yeah, unfortunately, on lap 1, we can't use push to pass, and I had a fuel pressure warning from pretty much the start of the race. Ended up having a mechanical issue towards the end of the race, but I was trying to change the dash screen on our dash, and by mistake hit the boost button. It's pretty close to it, and it's a silly mistake, but got to live with it. And we look forward to today starting P4, so starting behind Keegs. Maybe I can give him a little bit of a push down the straights and see what we can do into turn 1. And like Keegs said, the heat's going to be a big factor. So I think the race will be decided in the first few laps. But like I say, we look forward to it.
Yeah, it's an honest mistake. Unfortunately, you were still penalised, but it happens, I guess. I am looking forward to seeing where you both finish, and hopefully catching up with you afterwards. So, Gareth, there you have it. Let's see what's going on in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Of course, GTC and the SupaCup. We've got a very close race between Campos, Mkhotsi and Liebenberg. So we see oil flags coming out onto the track. That race, by the way, the GTC and SupaCup at 20-11. So we've got the CompCare Polo Cup up next. As you can see, cars are just delayed a little bit because a bit of oil on the track. You could have seen the marshals there. Look at the queues piling up there. Adam, you must be pleased to see that. Yeah, Adam Brown, CEO of Kyalami 9 hour, joining me as the cars do make their way around now. This is the Polo Cup, CompCare Polo Cup. Adam, I noticed on Friday, in fact on Thursday as well, buses of young people being brought into the track. In fact, just across from where we are onto the main pit straight, watching, taking photographs. Is this part of the vision and the plans?
No, absolutely. I mean, we from a promoter point of view, we've taken a very strong stance that legacy is a key element of what we do. You've got to invest into the future, and the value comes back to you from a promotional point of view. It's in our interest to grow the sport. It's in our interest to grow the interest in the sport, and it's in our interest to put back into the communities that that are important around this. And we've got a very strong feeling is that, generally speaking, as promoters. So, I mean, generally speaking, you find as promoters, we're about doing events.
Yes.
And then we get into the realm of doing legacy. We're not the guys that should be doing that. So we've got some great partners around us.
Yes.
We're working with GTN, the Gauteng Tourism Agency. We're working with Sport and Recreation.
Wow.
We're working with South African Tourism. And they're really coming to the table, and a lot of that as well is around saying how do we bring community involvement. So we've had schools, they've got now schools up to matric where they specialise in engineering. So they do their matric subjects, and then they do additional around the engineering subjects. So that's where our focus has been this year, is getting those kids in and getting them to understand what an event's about. I mean, it's a $89 trillion industry globally.
Sure.
I mean, we put 35 million rand into the economy just through putting this event on. 1,700 people accredited. So it's trying to give those kids, those young adults, the ability to understand what are those opportunities as an engineer, as a mechanic. It's not just about the driver. It's not just about the mechanic. We've got civil engineers, everything happening.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good program, great support, and I think we're getting somewhere.
We can see the youngsters who are out here. I mean, you've got to be here. It's one thing seeing a car or buying a toy or having a poster, but to be here and hear that noise. So for some, it might be racing, but for many, it'll be, wow, this is fascinating. I'm interested. My world is bigger than just what I experience.
Yeah, that's that. It's got to give them motivation. It's a dream to see where they could go, and that could be anything from working on catering, security, event management itself, or being the driver in the car. There's lots of options that you can set your sights on.
Adam, just two more things. I'm going to ask you, do you keep an eye on these other series? I mean, do you watch out for some rising stars? I mean, it wasn't long ago Sheldon van der Linde was down here in the Polo Cup.
But again, I mean, you talk about development. These guys are, best in the country. We've gone from 35 support teams. We've got 180 here today.
It's amazing.
So
phenomenal.
It's a motor fest of racing. You come down here and you're seeing everything from you got the VWs, the Formula 1600s, the BMWs, the V8s. It's phenomenal. And for me, again, I mean, I don't want to upset people here, but watching the action over the last 2 days, it's exciting as watching the 9 hour. I mean, that's what people are going to understand. It's not. That's our pinnacle race.
Yeah.
But actually, we've got 3 days, 12 hours a day of pure racing.
Amazing, yeah. Incredible. Well, just before we let you go, Adam, just dreams, plans going forward. You mentioned, obviously, you'd like to see the field grow for next year. Is the Kyalami 9 hour here to stay?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, we're our 4th year in. The pandemic obviously set us all back, so we reset. We're going again this year, and look what we've managed to do.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be bigger, better. Keep going in the right direction.
Yeah. Congratulations. Great success this year, and thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Adam Brown, the CEO, Kyalami 9 hour. As you can see, down onto the grids. They've had a little bit of a formation lap, and they're making their way around. Charles Visser there on pole position, the number 33. He had a fantastic week so far. He's dominated all the free practices, the qualifying, and he's all set to go. There we go. The Universal Motorsport team comp vehicle off the VW Polo. Charles Visser. I must say I am super pleased to see young Cara Hill back. Unfortunately, had an accident in the opening race, so she's back. There we go, down to the first Crowthorne corner. We've got 5 cars next to each other. Are they going to play nicely? 4 next to each other going into the first corner. It is wide enough. They're going to go out onto the runoff, and we're all safely through. Just speaking to Cara, she got up to 6th. You can see them just going over the bumps there onto 2 wheels. Oh, we've got a car that looks like he's slid sideways. Is he fine? All making it through. That's great to see. As mentioned, Cara, She got up into 6th on the grid. Her best qualifying result, and they'll be disappointed to have not made it through. Oh, side by side going through Sunset. It's a difficult corner. These cars quickly onto 3 wheels, and unfortunately that was going to happen. 3 next to each other is not enough space, unfortunately, for the CompCare Polo Cup. All back onto the racing line. Just enough space as they make their way through the S's. You can see them bouncing off the curbs there. So exciting young stars. Different racing lines through there as they find their feet. This is where we saw an incident yesterday with Cora unfortunately going right through the gravel and into the barrier. But everyone safely through there as they head up to Leeuwkop for the first time. Yeah, it's the CompCare Polo Cup, and it's race 2 of the weekend. This is the 27th year that this series has been producing stars like the van der Linde brothers. Sheldon van der Linde, of course, racing here this weekend. They come down the mine shaft for the first time and into the Crocodiles. Learning the weight of the car, the braking points. This is what it's all about. It's always been exciting racing. A very big Crocodiles corner there. Find the right racing line. As we start to get our field settled now, going into the end of the first lap. You can see, look at the dirt on the track there as the cars touch the gravel. This is from our support races in the morning, looking very dirty, that section of the track. Marshall's be looking to constantly clearing that. Right through the start-finish straight, and the start line, it is the 33 of Visser leading the way. Second is Van der Merwe, Davy van der Merwe, who won yesterday's race, the number 30. And it's the 76 of Jager Robertson. What an improved performance there. Van der Merwe defending his line there. Is that going to compromise him now through Yukskay? He's got that racing line. It's such a wide corner for these guys. Finding their feet. Yeah, we can see now the incident behind. 3 next to each other. You're never going to make it through Sunset. Everyone's managed to get back onto track and back into racing. Dust being kicked up there at Barbecue as the cars go past the support race pits. And it's still Mr. Visser who is led from pole position. Oh, he's gone wide. We've seen cars go off already there. The guys are pushing as hard as they can. They know that they're trying to make an impression here in the CompCare Polo Cup. So Visser still leading, doing a 2:14.9 in the opening lap. As mentioned, he's the man to beat. He's been strong through free practices, strong through qualifying. Didn't quite go his way in race 1 because a couple of incidents happening around him. But yeah, we could see him now stretch a comfortable lead as they head up towards Leeuwkop and down the mine shaft. You can see the 3 wheels going around this corner. Tasman Pepper joining me yesterday saying that sometimes you get some 2-wheel action as well for these cars as they head up to the top of the track. Down the mine shaft now, and Visser leading the way, opening up almost a second gap now to our second place. Davy van der Merwe, race 1 winner. Jager Robertson going for a dive on the inside. And he compromises his exit there, but he looks like he's got the racing line. And this is a man who's struggled through the weekend and now finding some fantastic form. You can see them going wide there. So Jager Robertson now up into second, taking over from yesterday's race winner. And does he have the pace now to close up the gap to our race leader, Charles Visser? Right down the main straight they come. Visser doing a 2:14.9 that time out. Jager Robertson then up into second place. Davy van der Merwe, he's going to want that position back. And he takes the dive on the inside line and the very wide Crowthorne. Does he have the racing line? Is he going to be compromised in the exit? As Robertson then dives down the inside, he's going to have the inside line going into Barbecue. And there we go. He was patient on that corner there, knowing that, of course, he was going to have too much speed going through as they make their way now past Barbecue, heading up towards Sunset and the support class pit straight. Just a bit further back now, we've got Basher, Loosemore, Fentor, 5th, 6th, 7th at the moment. We continue to enjoy here the CompCare Polo Cup, second race of the weekend in this, its 27th season. One of the nice features of this race, of course, is that the drivers have the push to pass to use. More powerful cars this year, and the push to pass allowing them, big time 2-wheel action there from the 97 for Han Basher in the VWI Motorsport VW Polo. up at Lukop now. And still got our leaders with a comfortable little lead there. It's a stunning view here over the Kyalami International Race Circuit in stunning conditions. If you ever get to go and watch from up there, there's a lot of trees. You can sit under the shade and enjoy some fantastic racing. Down the mine shaft then into the Crocodiles. It's been known to bite a little bit this weekend. Visser now just over a second lead over second man Robertson now. Jacob Robertson in second, the 76 ahead of yesterday's race winner Davy van der Merwe, who's not going to doesn't look like he's letting him get away, but gap at the front being maintained at about a second. The bucket list racing number 60 Pretorius then into fourth place, going a bit wide there for Basher the 97, Jason Loosemore the 15, currently running in seventh place. Down the main straight, looking for that overtaking opportunity. Wow, and look at how Robertson has really closed up. I wonder if Visser has made a mistake or maybe got a problem there, because he's really close. That gap was a second, and it's right on his tail now. Jacob Robertson now looking very racy here in race 2 of the CompCare Polo Cup. Very wide there. It's a bit deceiving, this angle, because it makes it look like they're off the track, but the track does widen in that section. And we're in for a fantastic second after this race here. Right, it's Visser. Full taps then through Sunset. Robertson just behind it. Davy van der Merwe, the race winner from race 1, up into third. Right, he's just going to be patient through this part of the track. Basher up into fourth. A bit of a locking there of the brakes from Pretorius and the bucket list racing. Number 60 in fifth position at the moment. Right through the S's. This is going to be a bit sketchy for these cars as they head through. Of course, no rear wings, no big downforce addition for them. So it's all the talent they need to focus on. Up to Lukop, very close now between Robertson. He certainly does look like he wants this race win. And Charles Visser, who's dominated free practices, he's dominated qualifying. He didn't win race 1, it was Davy van der Merwe. And now a weekend which could have ended perfectly for him. It doesn't look like he's able to pull away, as Jacob Robertson looking far more feisty and willing to take the risk. A little bit of a lock-up from Visser there. We see a puff of smoke come up. You see the different racing lines going through there. Now it's the Intercheetah. Oh, it's a bit of a drift there from the 33, but he holds on. Remember, they've got push to past, so they do get an opportunity to use that, but a lot of the times they all use it at the same part of the track. As we come down the main straight now, and a halfway point through the race now onto lap number 5. Visser still leading the way then ahead of Robertson, diving down into Crowthorne, and looks like they're going to stay in that order. I wonder if Visser's picked up now that the sniff of the others, and now looking to maybe just pick up his pace a little bit. Basher in fourth. He'll be looking to close that gap, because he seems like he's put a bit of a gap now to Pretorius in fifth. The 77 Fenter is the fastest man on the track. That's Dean Fenter, the Formula 1600 champion, moving up to the Polo Cup. He's in the VDN Auto Cars and M-Town Polo, and he's the fastest man on the track. You can see that purple race number there, number 6, going wide there through Sunset. So Fenter, the fastest man on the track, just 0.9 seconds behind. Don't think there's enough time though to look towards the back of the field. So we're catching the back markers as the leaders. No, they're already through there, so that was just a shot further back in the field. So there's 1, 2, 3. 4 still Basher, Pretorius and Fenter. They do look like they're closing the gap there. Fenter, the fastest man on the track at the moment. Jacob Robertson looks like he was pushing, maybe the tyres going off a bit. Very warm track temperatures. Give you a quick update as to where we are weather-wise. We're sitting at 28 degrees. Track temperature, wow, 48.3 already. Wow, a big dive there on the inside. This is up at the top of the course, the 22 over the 21. That's Komani, or known as Buxi, on Jandre Marais. The two dicing as they go down through Mineshaft. Not sure there's space there for two cars as we break away to the lead of the race there. The 33 of Visser still coming through. And now Davy van der Merwe looking racy as Jacob Robertson seems to have fallen a bit off the pace of the lead of Visser. We'll have a look at these lap times as they come through now. Basher still in fourth, very wide. He's really pushing yesterday's race winner. Right, coming through a 209.1. No one in the 208s at this point of the race. Fastest laps, though, for Victor and Karodia, the 25, a bit further down the field, as they bunch up once again into Crowthorne. And, of course, you'll see drivers have their parts of the track where they're much faster, where they feel more confident. And we're certainly seeing that as they bunch up once again, as they go through Barbecue. Just touching the gravel, stay off the gravel. That's just being churned up as the race goes through. And, of course, the 9 hours still to come. We'll see plenty of dust being thrown up on that corner. Right, into Sunset. Full taps onto three tyres here as they make their way through. See just different racing lines once again. Going down into Club. Fent is still the fastest man on the track. He's done a 208.5. The leader's fastest lap at 208.9. So Ty Robinson, the 27, the AF fans polo near towards the back of the field. He's up into 12th place. This is then Pillay and Goodman. As the 33 comes up, that familiar view back down towards the track over Newcorp. The old West Bank corner, the old track would have turned right there. They take a left down Mine Shaft. Full taps down as they go through this little turn to the left and into the Crocodiles. 2 laps to go after this one. They make their way down into the Crocodiles, and they seem to be settled in their positions now. Jacob Robertson has he got a little bit left in the tank to have one more go. Davy van der Merwe falling back now. 2.8 seconds off the lead. Is Basha in fourth. Fans starting to gather, of course, getting ready for what's going to be an absolute cracking day. We've still got the big GTC race to come. The SupaCups as well has been very close in that category between the likes of Liebenberg, Machotsi, and of course Keegan Campos, your race winner from yesterday. It's a step up from these cars, a little bit different because they've got their rear wings as they're at Robertson. They're looking a bit racy now, back in 12th place coming into Ingwe, the final corner. And here we go, Jacob Robertson. He's got one more chance after this because this is the penultimate lap. Charles Visser in the Universal Motorsports number 33 polo, leading the way. He's been on pole position. He dominated free practice. Fortunately, didn't go his way in race one. It was Davy van der Merwe, that man there, who picked up the race win in race one from yesterday. And he'll be looking maybe to have a final go. Yeah, you don't want to throw it away though in a risky move. You've had a chance now over 7 laps to find your pace, to find where your opponent's braking points are as they go through Sunset and into Clubhouse. Lovely to see the crowds pouring in there, looking for a bit of shade. A very hot day expected here in Johannesburg as they sweep through the S's. So let's give you the running order then. Visser leading the way ahead of Jacob Robertson. Van der Merwe, yesterday's race winner, in third. Those are the 3 that you see on screen. Behind there, Basher was looking quick, but it looks like he's going to settle for fourth. Pretorius in fifth. Venter is the fastest man on the track, the 77. VDM Auto Cars and M-Town Polo in 6th place. Kutsia, he's fallen back a little bit. He's had a difficult race weekend. He's in 7th ahead of Victor in 8th. 9th for Karodia in the Fast 5 Motorsport Polo. Perez 11th ahead of Robertson and Pillay. Down into the Crocodiles, so we've got a couple of battles going on. That's 4 and 5 between Bash and Pretorius. And wow, you can see the strength there. Visser really now opening up beautiful gap. And all of a sudden, Jacob Robertson, who was looking racy, is now going to feel a bit under threat going into the last lap. So if Visser can keep his nose clean, he should take the race victory here in race 2. And that'll be a bit of redemption after dominating all weekend long. Not having the race go his way because of plenty of incidents around him in race 1, but now down into Crowthorne for the last time. He's looking so strong for some. He must have kept a bit in the tank. 1.4 seconds ahead. Jacob Robertson holds on to second then as Davy van der Merwe. Has he got another racing opportunity here for an overtake? Basher certainly looks like he's closing up. I think it's just a little bit too far the gap though. as they head into barbecue. Just going past, there's the entrance to the support race pits. Fans will definitely want to get a spot out there. Lovely to see the cars preparing for these races. And nothing quite like seeing a GT car in the 9 hour coming past there at top speed. Through Sunset for the last time. Top three all keeping their nose clean. Basher in fourth ahead of Pretorius. They're looking feisty there. Is there another race opportunity? Possibly down the mine shaft into the Crocodiles. It does look like he's drifting a little bit there. He's having a bit of fun now. He's got a bit of a gap. He can open up and just enjoy now the last few corners, as he has the battles now for second and third and fourth and fifth. So Jager Robertson now got to pick your racing line. You've had a chance now to see how your opponent is taking this line, so that you can now give it full taps down the mine shaft and into Crocodiles for the very last time. So Visser looks like he's got the race victory. If you can just keep it on track. They're just
animating on this shot. In the end, at the end of the race, all the time.
Welcome back to the Kyalami 9 hour. Good to have you with us. The track's filling up. We're all set to go for an epic afternoon. It's been an incredible morning. We've already had 4 races, and out on the track at the moment, we've got some of our VIPs going through the track in these stunning cars. In fact, we've got our own Ricky Breast in one of the cars at the moment. We'll find out a little bit from her in a short while. But I've got one of our Kyalami 9 hour drivers joining me live in studio. Reese Barr in the SPS Mercedes number 20 from Ireland. First time at Kyalami. Reese, wonderful to have you with us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. First time in South Africa in general, so it's an incredible experience. I'm absolutely loving it so far. And first time out in the track in the Merc. And such a tough track with the temperature of 30 plus degrees. It is going to be tough out there for the 9 hour, but we're feeling pretty strong. We're feeling good. So yeah, I'm excited to get going.
Yeah, tell us a bit about your background. Obviously, Reese Barr is quite new to local fans. So tell us about where you've come from.
Yeah, so I've done a bit of racing in Europe with CompCare Cup, probably being the race it, and then also in GT3 with Honda a few years ago. Yeah, with COVID, the last couple of years have been a bit more quiet, but trying to get back with a bang here now with the second round of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool career so far. Got to drive many GT cars. First time actually in the Merc this weekend, so a lot of new things.
Sure.
But feeling pretty good, so excited to get going.
Fantastic. And you said a tough track.
Yeah.
I mean, you've experienced some tracks around the world, so
for sure.
What makes this a challenging track?
It's quite, I think, has a lot of old school character. You're not really having to brake straight. There's a lot of technique to get the car turned, and you're braking while turning, and the track width changes a lot of the times, and there's a few bumps that you have to be aware of, and I quite like that. Like, it adds a lot more character to the track, a lot more things you have to think about. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, first time in South Africa, you must be enjoying the weather.
Yeah, enjoying the weather. Bit different to Ireland, I will say, just a wee bit. But no, feeling pretty good. I've been training pretty hard, so yeah, in the car feeling quite good, but sweating a lot. Overalls are probably gaining about 2 kilos of water. So.
Wow. Yeah, out on the track at the moment, you're getting visuals here of some of our VIPs and guests. It is filling up quite nicely. I don't see a spare space for a car to park around the track. So it's looking really good. And out in the support race pits, beautiful Pablo Clark Ferrari going through. And we've of course got the Motorfest as well, so look out for plenty of action. It's all happening here at the Kyalami 9 hour. So Reese, tell us about how the weekend's gone for you guys in the SPS Mercedes.
Yeah, it's gone pretty good. I've had a bit of learning to do, coming straight in with new to the car, new to the track. It's been kind of progressive. Didn't want to take too much risk. Obviously, the main job is today once the 9 hour starts, so that's our main focus. Stay first. You have to finish the race, so that's the main goal. But yeah, just going to chip away at it. But so far, it's been pretty good. Practice has been nice. Our race pace is good. So yeah, I think for the race we'll do pretty well. Just minimise all the mistakes, and that's our aim.
Yeah, the Mercedes is sounding absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that V8 is unbelievable. So yeah.
Well, look, we get a better sound than you guys because you come past us, so we get to hear the back sound.
You get the full experience of it. Yeah,
we're jealous. It's like a fighter plane coming through here. So this is your first time in the Mercedes. You've driven some other cars, of course. So how can you compare? What's the experience like?
So I'm used to having kind of the engine more towards the back, so the balance of the car is a bit more different. It's something that every driver has to adapt to when they get into a new car, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, it just means going into corners, you're just having to use a bit of a different technique to get the car turned and to get onto the throttle. But with a bit of adaptation and in practice, I'm feeling pretty good going into the race. So.
And how easy is it to find a tenth of a second around here, or is it difficult?
It's tricky. It's all down to the super fine detail. Obviously, to get into the car, the Merc's a super nice car to get into and to drive. But then, obviously, with every car, those last bits is always so difficult. You have to extract everything out of it. So, yeah, it's tough, but cool.
Yeah, we've got some visuals here of cars going around the track. Great to have you watching in on our YouTube channel, and I've got Reese Barr here from the SPS Mercedes team, the number 20, going to be in the 9 hour a little bit later on. Just talk about your love for cars. I mean, looking at these old Beamers, and I mean, have you got a couple of cars? Have you got some?
Yeah. So actually, I was up doing the track walk. I was walking past the other paddock and seen a 2002, and I have one sitting back at the garage at home that I'm trying to restore myself. So. Yeah, I absolutely love old school cars. It's one of the best eras of cars, in my opinion. When you really had no help from the car, you had to really rag it around the track, and I think that's incredible. So it's cool to see some older cars out there today.
Yeah, in terms of Irish motorsport, I mean, there are a couple of names that spring to mind, and particularly I think in like rally maybe more because of the conditions, perhaps. I mean, do you do a lot of sim racing? Where do you get your... I mean, obviously, Europe is so close, you travel quite a lot. But, I mean, the islands, perhaps, GT racing, not a lot coming through.
So, in terms of GT racing, within Ireland, there's not a lot. Definitely rally is huge in Ireland. I have a local rally, the Donegal rally beside that basically comes past my house. So, rallying is huge. Wow. But, yeah, you have to travel a bit further afield to get to some proper GT racing. But... in terms of drivers, there's a good few Irish drivers coming through now, which is pretty cool to see. But yeah, it would be nice to have some more things back home, but it's a difficult thing to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking earlier to the CEO of the 9 Hour about how GT racing just seems to be on the up around the world.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, a few years ago, I remember as a youngster, production cars was the big thing.
Yeah.
Now it's just GT cars, and it seems like every country in the world has got a series or wanting to do a series, because it's just become such a popular thing. I mean, you can look at this parking lot behind us and you can see GT3 cars.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the exciting thing. Like it's such a cool car. It's high power, high downforce for GT. Such an extreme car, but you can also access them on the road with a lot of the GT cars. They have their road cars going, so I think it connects with the fans.
Yes.
Where they can see cars on the road as well, and they can connect with brands and things like that. They're all very recognizable brands, so I think that's pretty cool, and it's what's allowed it to grow so strongly.
Yeah. Just looking, there's a Ford Mustang with quite a roar, and an old one. It feels like a Ghostbusters car coming past you.
It's crazy. There was no noise restrictions back then. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Looks like it's a 3018 Ford Mustang, Oliver Broom. He's going to be doing a bit of a demonstration. We've got an historic race coming a bit later. Jackie Schechter in a Ferrari 360. So it's something to look out for.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about the 9 Hour, of course, coming up now. So have you had a strategy meeting this morning? When are you in the car?
So yeah, we've had a few strategy meetings, but we have a few more now to get to just finalise all the details. Obviously, with a 9 hour, things can change at any moment. You're obviously looking out for full safety cars and safety cars in general. So at any moment, that's what the strategy guys there are for, just to kind of adapt and maximise the strategy for all the drivers at every moment. But now we're looking pretty good for it. It looks like I'll be starting, so which is going to be fun. But we'll see. Well, still to be decided. But.
Well, I mean, Reese, that's a big moment, because you've had not much time alongside cars. It's been very much you on your own in the track, trying to find the pace, the race line. Now you're around car. Where are you starting on the grid?
P7 overall, 8 overall, I think. P3 in class. So.
P3 in class, yeah. I think it was 8th there. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right in the midst there. You're going to see what the action in front of you. Lots can happen. We've seen incidents on the first corner here before, so... Is there a strategy, or you're just trying to keep your nose clean? It's a long way to go.
Well, it's a 9 hour race, so you have to finish the race to get what you need. So, we're just going to try and stay out of trouble. But obviously, if any opportunity presents itself, we're going to be taking it with both hands. So.
And have you done much night racing?
No, my first time at night was in practice there. So.
And what was it like coming up there, going towards the top?
I absolutely loved it. It's quite a majestic feeling. I haven't ever experienced it, so it was quite nice to just be in the darkness with these two beams beaming in front of you. It was quite cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this track. I mean, on the TV, you can see a bit of undulation, but I think at night time, going up to Leeuwkop, right at the top of the track, I mean, you can't see anything.
Exactly. Well, you can't see barely anything in the daytime, but when you come up there at the night and your headlights are shining into the sky, it's a different feeling when you're trying to find the apex.
Yeah, that's it, folks. There are no floodlights on the track.
No.
So it's quite a... of course, do you have a favourite part of the track? A favourite corner or two?
I would have to say the S's.
Okay.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. Quite difficult to get right. You have to really position the car to get.
What
kind of
gears
the
are you going
exit.
through there?
Third, fourth, kind of on the exit then.
So you're changing into fourth on the exit?
On the exit, up the
hill.
Exit. Yeah. So
and up the hill into fifth as well? Will you get to fifth up the hill?
No.
No, so you'll just full throttle in fourth, look for your braking points. Okay. Of course, there's a couple of iconic corners here as well. Sunset being my favourite. I think it's a stunning corner to watch as a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
Particularly from the inside of the track. It's nothing quite like seeing a GT car at full pace around there. Is it full taps for you guys? Is it full taps for you? Is it full speed through the Sunset?
Yeah.
Full speed, all right? Not lifting.
Through Sunset? No. So it's a slight brake for sure, yeah.
Okay, slight brake.
Slight brake,
okay.
feeling the arrow, getting the car around, trying to position, bring it back right for the left then. So.
Did you say feeling the arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you actually feel the car grip.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's an incredible feeling. The Merc has quite a bit of aero, especially without big rear wing on it. So you can really feel the car just settling into the ground. So it's cool. It's a nice feeling.
Is it a fine line?
Oh, it's a fine line. It can go very wrong very quick. So once the rear breaks away at that speed, it can change the aero balance. And
we were chatting to Charles Laranges earlier. He was saying for our listeners and viewers, he was saying that Clint Weston was going into Sunset, and he braked 10 meters late because he was changing the race number on the car, and of course, then it was too late.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about 10 meters difference.
Oh, it's incredible. Like when we're looking through the telemetry, you're talking about meters that are making these huge differences around this track. So every small detail is making a massive difference. And with all these pro guys, like the grid is the best drivers in the world here. So whenever you're talking about margins, everyone's kind of on the limit. So every small difference can make a big impact. So
and we've got some really fast guys here.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Who've been here before and are very familiar with it. I mean, I was laughing. I think Jules was saying, I think he went onto the gravel, he went into the dust to make a bit of a bit of a smoke for the fans there. I mean, he was just so comfortable at the top speed. Amazing.
No, he loves it.
So we talk about Sunset, but I want to talk about Mineshaft because it's obviously a fan favourite coming down there. Is it full speed through there?
That's full speed. Yeah. So that's coming through down there in practice for the first time down the hill.
Wow.
Like when you're watching videos and stuff, you don't really see how steep that is and how far it's going down. But arriving down there was.
Yeah, here's the Mineshaft.
Yeah,
of course.
there it is,
There's this turn now, which is part of the Mineshaft corner.
Yeah.
So that's. There you can see. I mean, it could quite easily go wrong there. We've seen actually a couple of things. In fact, we saw in one of the support races, one of the suspensions failed because it's I think it's the right rear is under huge pressure
huge
there.
Load there,
Huge
so
load on that.
You're trying to open the corner up by using the curb on the right, and then you really feel the car just settle into the corner. And there's quite a big bump on the apex there, so we're lucky enough to have quite a bit of aero at that speed, so the car stays pretty settled. But for some of the other cars, I'd say it would be pretty interesting going through there.
Yeah, let's talk about this one quickly, coming through the kink and into Crowthorne. Okay, we've moved back now, but I mean the first corner as well, very wide.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many. We've seen cars 5 wide going through there in some of our support races.
And that's the crazy thing I've noticed around here is you have big wide parts of the track, and then when you go around the corner, it's like a funnel. So it's going to make things very interesting in the race, but. It invites you into some exciting racing, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, and then just going back, as you come down Mineshaft, of course, you've got the Crocodiles that's bitten a few cars this weekend. What's that corner like?
Yeah, which one are we talking about, sorry?
The Crocodiles. As you're coming down the Mineshaft, so we've been speaking about that fast corner down, and then you get to that breaking point.
Very difficult to find a reference going into there. It's like the track is going in very different directions, and you're trying to find different lines, trying to open the corner up. Quite nice though in the Merc. Once you find that good brake point, it's just nice and flowy, waiting for the car to rotate and then nailing the throttle and trying to get an exit up to the kink there for sure. It's nice.
So that's the Crocodiles. Quite wide. We've seen a lot of incidents in support races. Then you sort of the Crocodiles, because it's like a right turn and then a little fading left, and then you've got this Cheetah. And it's got like this sausage curb on it.
Absolutely vicious.
It's vicious. Because now you'll see in the support races, they all avoid it. You can see all the fans there in the pits. Really, really exciting stuff. They're starting to make their way down into the main pits. I think here's got the orange colours. I think is your pit box there.
Yeah, it is.
So you're just coming back to Cheetah. You in the other support races, they were trying to avoid that sausage curb, but you guys actually hit it.
Well, hitting it, I don't know if that's intentional, to be honest. It's a very big curb. It's probably faster to avoid it because, a few guys have hit it and it has probably not gone that well for them. So it would,
I mean, your split is quite low in the front, so
exactly.
So there's no real margin for. There's no space there.
Even on some of the exit curbs, you can feel the splitter bottoming out slightly. So definitely doesn't help with those big sausages for sure. So we try to avoid it.
And then Reese, I mean, we're at quite an altitude, yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you adapted? When did you come to South Africa? Have you had enough chance to get?
I came in on Tuesday, so not that much time. To be honest, I didn't think about it until we were chatting about it with the other drivers there the other day, and I've heard that a few guys are really feeling the altitude, but I don't seem to be struggling with it too much, thankfully. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how it is with full stint in the car. It's going to be very long. But no, so far I'm feeling okay, not too bad.
Yeah, he's Irish, that's why. He's Irish, eh? He's tough. So what's your program look now? We're about 10:30 now, so you've got, I mean, it's not long to go now. So what would you do now? What would you do?
Well, we'll probably go down now. There's see a few of the fans and stuff on the pit walk and things like that. Just it's cool to see everyone out and enjoying time, have a good time. But then it'll be full focus, getting ready so that we know everything for strategy, as well as doing a bit of pit stop practice, just making sure everyone's sharp and everyone knows what to do.
Reese, it's been an amazing chatting to you. Wishing you all the best of the race. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you. Right, so we're going to cross over to the support race pits, and Ricky has had a bit of a joyride. So let's find out what's gone down there.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Richard, if you can.
So being the Intercontinental GT Challenge powered by Pirelli, quite naturally all the GT cars this weekend will be running.
All right, so first things first, when it comes to putting rims into tires, you got to put glue and put it on these fancy machinery, and I have no idea what's going on. We're going to give it a try. Where are you? A little bit of glue. Okay. This part I'm scared about.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold it like that.
Like that. With this joint.
Yeah. Okay.
Then what you must put the tires like this.
Okay.
The valve in this position.
Right.
Just look that this part is like this.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Slowly.
Slowly. Okay. With a joystick. Okay. Okay. Okay, now it's getting complicated. Okay. Okay.
Want to do now or wait?
Yeah, I'll do.
Press.
Okay. Is it done?
Yeah.
It's done! So this process looks a lot slower now when I'm doing it. But these guys can do about 3-4 tires in 5 minutes. That's crazy. I don't think I'll be able to do that at all. But the process isn't done. We still got to get into these tires and we've got to get them balanced. No? Ah! Okay. I guess.
Okay.
Then okay.
Now.
How much?
Until you heard the double pop-up. Now
No, no.
Welcome back to the Kyalami 9-hour action on the track. Of course, you can see our GTC and SupaCup cars are coming around. It's our final support race of the day, and then the final build-up will start coming up for us. Well, it's wonderful to have with us the SRO Motorsports Group. He is the chair, he's the founder, the CEO, Stefan Rottel. Stefan, wow, wonderful to have you with us. Thank you.
Very happy to be here. The sun is shining and the race is about to start.
Yeah, absolutely. How long have you been here? Have you had an opportunity to be in South Africa for a few days?
Yes, I arrived on Thursday.
Okay, welcome. Good to have you with us. So, of course, the Kyalami 9-hour round 2 of the season. Fantastic start, by the way, in Bathurst. Must be very pleased to be bringing it back to South Africa.
Now we're very happy. Personally, I didn't come for the last 2 years. It's true, it's been the last 2 COVID years that we had, which have made a difficult transition since 2009, where we start 2019, where we really started with a bang. But it's very happy to be back. I mean, the Kyalami 9-hour is historically an important event,
yes.
And we're happy to be able to carry the legend and to continue coming here.
Yeah, it is a legendary race and a beautiful track. And the support seems like it's been amazing.
Yeah, no, it's you know, I think a good number of tickets have been sold. There will be, we're expecting a good crowd, and a close racing between very professional cars. That at the end what we're promoting.
Absolutely. Of course, we've got the GTCs on track at the moment. They're going to be making their way down to the main start line. It looks like we've got a slow start there for the Audi. Hopefully can get underway. Well, Stefan, you have perhaps a different perception than most of us do about motorsport in the world and motorsport in Africa. Can you give us a little insight into what does the rest of the world think about Africa?
You know, we at the SRO Motorsport Group, we promote 13 championships around the world. On all 5, we organize 55 events this year.
Wow.
on 5 continents in 25 countries. So we have a broad view of global motorsport. You know, the IGT Intercontinental GT Challenge that we bring here specifically is a series of international teams promoted, supported by manufacturers, but they are all only the center of it. Then in each country, we attract the number of local teams. At the Bathurst 12 hours, we have maybe 10, 15 international cars, and all the rest are local teams. For the moment in South Africa, it has been difficult to attract more local teams. It's a bit frustrating for us because there are more and more GT cars in these countries.
Absolutely.
But they are not all coming yet to the 9 hours, and we want to encourage them in the future to do so, because this event can only grow if it has local participation.
In fact, GT racing is certainly on the up in South Africa, so one would think that this would sort of come together perhaps going forward.
Yes, it's the frustration we have because we hear from the manufacturer, we hear from teams that are selling their cars to South Africa, so there are more and more GT3 cars in this country, and we just want to motivate the drivers and the team owners to be here in what is the most promoted and largest GT race, sports car race in the country and in Africa in general.
Yeah, absolutely. We can just see the cars coming around. They're going to form a lineup now as we have a rolling start. Stefan Rattel here from SRO Motorsport joining us. Excited for today's race then, Stefan?
Yeah, no, especially.
Cars coming past us now. We'll get back to the racing in a moment. Stefan, just expectations for today, looking forward to the 9 hour?
Yeah, very much, because, you know, qualifying was extremely close.
Yes.
The grid is not at the size we expected, but we have a very good...
We've got our Super Cup coming through there.
Good.
Yeah, looking very good. Super Cup cars going through. 4 abreast going down through the kink and into Crowthorne. 5 abreast looking for an inside line. Keegan Campos is the man to beat. Looks like Brad Liebenberg might get the inside shot, and there he does. Jonathan Machotsi. Oh, Campos has been pushed back down, it looks like, into 4th place at the moment. We'll come back to that in a moment. Stefan, just weather looks great. There's going to be interesting racing a bit later. It's always been known to throw up a few surprises, though, this race, hasn't it?
No, I mean, it's, as I said, we have, even if the grid is not what we would have expected to be, we have a very high-level competition in the 2 categories, both in Pro and in Pro-Am. So you can expect a very disputed race between Audi, Porsche, Mercedes and BMW. So it's looking good.
Absolutely. I'm happy to see the Audis here, and great to have the South African teams. I know there's not a lot of them, but they always are well supported, and I just must also...
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have them here. It's why we're so happy to have them here, that we want more of them.
I must ask about Sheldon van der Linde, of course, being an ambassador almost for South Africa and GT Racing, DTM champion. I mean, you must be thrilled to have him here.
No, of course, it's very important to have local heroes in an international race. So we're very happy to have him here, and we wish him to do very well.
Yeah, looks like we have an incident on the race. Stefan, we won't keep you long, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you in South Africa. Enjoy the race. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Stefan Rattel there, the CEO, the founder. He ranks among some of the leading decision makers in international motorsport, and a real privilege to have him join us for a few moments. Right, let's get back to the racing then. It's GTC and the Super Cup, and images there of a car that looks like it's spun out at barbecue right in front of the fans who are pouring into the racetrack, and looking across. It's looking like a full track today, all ready to go. We've got lots of kids as well joining us. I've seen buses arriving with kids as well, showcasing this fantastic track. All right, so it looks like 2 cars involved there. So That's the 94 of Tate Bishop in Angry Racing. Unfortunately, it looks like he's beached that car, so marshals are going to help, and engine's still running, so if we can get back onto the track, should be able to continue there. Michael van Rooyen leading the way then. There we go, the 94 back onto the track. And is that the sweep that's claimed another victim there? Right, we're under safety car here. 12 laps in round 2 of the opening round of GTC and the Super Cup. This the 7th season of the race. Oh, there's some confusion here now. Brady Liebenberg looked like he was stopping or maybe going into the pits while the rest of the field carried on going. Oh no, this is a disaster for Liebenberg. We spoke to him just before the race. He got the whole shot. He looked comfortable. Oh man, he's going to be frustrated with that. So Brad Liebenberg in the Hype Energy Drinks Super Polo, and he is frustrated. Understandably so, because he got ahead on that opening corner. And now he's had to stop, and that's going to mean further delay. So let's just remind you of the running order. As we were chatting there to Stefan, it's Michael van Rooyen who's managed to get the whole shot. He's leading the race. Andrew Rackstraw, we spoke to him yesterday. He's in the VW GTR. He's going to be moving to a BM later on in the season. Also got some international commitments. Simanga in third, the 28 Toyota Corolla in third place. Toyota Gazoo Racing sponsored vehicle. Robert Volt, the defending champion. We saw him doing a couple of single laps earlier on during the other support races. So he's obviously had some kind of challenge or problem there, because he's down in fourth. Variawa just behind him in fifth. Sayud Variawa, our race winner in the opening round, and then Josh LaRue. Josh, the Formula 1600 champion who's made the step up to GTC. He's currently in sixth. And then it was Liebenberg leading the Super Cup. Yeah, we can have a replay. So this looks like just a touch there from the back, and then a spin. Yeah, we can just see in the background there. Oh, and this is the Angry Racing. So did he lose it on braking? Was there a touch there? And this is now going into the sweep for the Angry Racing 94. Tate Bishop, but has managed to get back going. Marshals have been assisted there. The field now all bunched up. So just to remind you there, Van Rooyen is leading. Rackstraw in second ahead of Simanga in the Super Cup. Liebenberg was leading, but he is now out. He's had to park next to the pit entry for the support races. And they're going to want to clear that. They're not going to allow this racing to get underway until they move that car, because you can't have the entrance to the pit lane blocked in any way. Behind him, we've got Diaz, the 46. There they go, towing now. Liebenberg, we saw him very frustrated, slamming the door, and understandably so, after such a brilliant start. As the safety car may be peeled away. I'm looking down, we still got yellow flags, do we? No, we are going to get racing. Right, so there we go. And he's going to become the safety car, and there we go, Michael van Rooyen now. GTC, the second race for the weekend. It's the opening round here at Kyalami, and Andrew Rackstraw is looking very racy. Still early on, he just has a quick look, just a little, let Michael know. The youngster is here. Simanga in third, Robert Falk, he's looking racy in fourth there. So this is GTC. Of course, we are missing Julian van der Vat. He had a big crash in free practice, and unfortunately he's had to have surgery. Wishing him all the best. So out on the back straight. Oh, we're looking racy here for Simanga. It's not an overtaking spot though. Andrew Rackstraw, he's mixing it up there. There's 5 Corollas around him, and he knows he's going to make a move soon, because Nati is looking very quick in that Toyota Corolla, the Gazoo Racing sponsored Corolla. They look beautiful. You must go stand next to these cars. They are absolutely stunning. Toyota Gazoo, of course, very much on the up with Le Mans Racing, Endurance Racing. We've got Dakar Racing, and of course WRC. Right up at the top, Lucorp then, our top 3 nose to tail as we head down the mine shaft, and a popular overtaking spot down at the bottom. Crocodile awaits them with a mouth wide open as we get racing now. Lap 3 here of 12 in the GTC. And here we go. Let's see who's going to be brave. Van Rooyen sees him coming. Not, he's going to touch the back of him. Whoa! How did they not push him on there, and they've managed to make it through. He's defending the line. That's not the easiest overtaking spot. Nati Simanga looking for Rare.
Okay, I'm with Troy Dolenchik. I hope I said that correctly. So it's been quite a weekend for you because yesterday you were having a little bit of problems and today you actually landed up winning. So take me through quickly what happened yesterday versus what your experience today.
Yeah, the weekend in general has been a bit chaotic. I had a nice quali, pulled it, and then from there on the problems came in. The first race, the engine cover came loose, it broke off. So we were already on the back foot, but luckily we started pole for the second race again. And nicely, we got a nice gap from the beginning, a nice start, very close on the first lap. But from about lap 2 to lap 5, got a nice little gap. And, from there, I was able to control it, had a nice couple of fastest laps. And, I was very happy with the result. But obviously, just a massive thank you to Sujin, who've sponsored me for the year so far and have been the reason why I'm here today.
That's amazing. And I believe that your very close friend came second, who I'm going to speak to shortly. But how does it feel racing with one of your closest friends?
Yeah, no, obviously it's not always easy because if it's close on track, there's no friends on track. But it's always cool to have a share result afterwards of a 1-2 with a friend. So that's always cool to celebrate afterwards. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and he also had a really good race. So yeah, really, really chuffed.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. Back to you, Gareth. Like, racing for so many years in karting and coming from that series?
Look, so obviously karting, we've learned it. It's basically the series that teaches you a lot of skills. Most of the people that come from karting, you can see with Max Verstappen, they're all good. So there's no real bad drivers when they come from karting. Because all the basics, that's where you learn all the basics. And honestly, everyone that I've seen that have come from karting has been successful. So I think, obviously karting's a feeder series. So I think single seaters is the closest to it, and that's what people normally jump to.
And do you feel like you're going to stay in the F1600s, or are you going to move to a different series? You want to try something out?
Look, personally, I'll stay in this for this year because obviously I want to win it. But next year, going overseas, I think that's the next option, to be honest.
It's amazing. I'm very excited to see between the two of you what happens in the future. Back to you, Gareth.
Again, a big gap. He's going to take a famous double victory here in front of his wife and daughter, and wonderful to have them here with us. He said it's been his inspiration. Makhotsi behind. Of course, we lost Bradley Liebenberg early on. Big shake-up, really, yeah, in the GTC in the opening round for 2023. That's Variawa, who's catching up now. We expect him, if there's one more lap, he might be actually too far back to catch Makhotsi and Campos, but he is third in class. He got spun around there by Rackstraw. Rackstraw managed to get going. He's down in 10th place at the moment. So just 12 cars left, and you can see the carnage there. Tsimanga, Diaz, Liebenberg, Hammond and Diaz all out. Plenty of incidents in this 12-lap race. We're on to the final lap now. Michael van Rooyen through the start-finish line. Here comes Josh Leroux. You can see how he's quite far behind, just going through Cheetah into Ingwe now. Into Ingwe there and the Audi. And he's starting his final lap. Van Rooyen has walked away with this. He's comfortable. There he comes through Yipske. He can just ease off a little bit now. A comfortable victory. We spoke to him earlier, yesterday in fact. He was talking about how these youngsters yesterday gave him a hard time. Well, he certainly showed them this morning. GTC, it's our final local series race for the day as we continue our build up to the 1 o'clock start of the Kyalami 9-hour. Through club now for Van Rooyen. I wonder if he knows what's happening behind him. Lots of drama. He's just managed to keep his nose clean, just stay on the racing line. He's managed to drop off the pace at the moment, doing 153s. His quickest lap was a 151, so he's been able to take it easy. Here comes Josh Leroux, who's going to pick up a famous second place. I mean, what a start to the season for this young man. Moving up from the F1600s. And now there goes Van Rooyen down the mine shaft, takes a left turn into mine shaft for the last time. So it's going to be factory wins then for Toyota Gazoo Racing in race 1 and 2, with Variawa picking up their first race win, and now Van Rooyen in race number 2. Final then into the Crocodiles. A little left bend, then the big right at Cheetah. You won't come past this part of the track again because, of course, the support racers have their own pits on the other side. You'll go straight in. A final turn then at Ingwe, as Michael van Rooyen picks up the race 2 victory here at the 2023 Kyalami 9-hour. It's the second race of the season, and GTC well underway now for Michael van Rooyen. A comfortable race, must be said, in the end. Managed to avoid all the drama that was happening behind, as here comes this exciting young talent, the Formula 1600 champion. He hasn't had a great weekend, so he'll be delighted to have benefited from the drama behind him. And there he comes. In fact, there's Volk, who managed to get going again. So we made that call. We thought it would be good for him to get some time. But just behind him in screen was Josh Leroux. And here comes Variawa then. In fact, that's Van Rooyen then. He's slowing down. Here comes Keegan Campos. He's going to win back-to-back victories here at the GTC SupaCup. What a weekend for Keegan Campos. Through the race finish line now for Campos Racing. His competitors, well, he was looking out for Jonathan Makhotsi, who in race 1 was, and Bradley Liebenberg were the hot contenders. But yeah, he's really dominated. Variawa going through, Makhotsi going through as well. Carella then picking up the third place on the podium in the SupaCup. And the last of the SupaCups now coming up through the finish line. Warm conditions here, of course, at GTC Racing, and it's going 10 minutes past 11. Racetrack temperature, 50.6 degrees, 29.4 degrees outside. And there comes Andrew Rackstraw, was involved in an earlier incident. There's Robert Volk, the defending champion. He got back on track just to have a last little dash. Maybe they could see if they could find out what that problem was. But yeah, here's your race results then. Michael van Rooyen then, 12 laps, comfortable victory. Josh Leroux will be delighted, the Formula 1600 champion. First time on the podium in GTC, benefiting from all the drama behind him. Campos is the first of the SupaCup cars. Back-to-back wins for him. Variawa was the third place of the GTCs, and then in fifth place, Makhotsi, second place in the SupaCup, ahead of Carrello, the number 100 car. The rest of the field, well, they look down there. Keegan Masters having a guest ride this weekend for Trinity Protection Services. He's in 7th overall, 4th in class. Rackstraw was one of the casualties of the race. He unfortunately had an incident with Variawa and finishing outside the podium. And Robert Volk, you can see, just getting back on track. Samanga, unfortunately, having an incident. His car is still parked down the mine shaft. Not sure what's happened. We'll see if we can find out for you as well. Global Touring Cars and the Super Cup Championships. It's the opening rounds here at Kyalami. And a great weekend start then for Toyota Gazoo Racing. Right here we see the start of the race here in the highlights. And it was Michael van Rooyen from pole position who kept things clean. Look at this, 5 wide. And here we're going to start to see the drama unfold. It's never going to go through there, boys. You're not going to fit through there. And unfortunately tapping one another. But this is learning opportunity for these exciting young stars. Oh, did he have a failure on the car there or something? Oh, that's unusual for it to be locking up like that. He must have just touched the car. Safety car came out, and it was at this point that Bradley Liebenberg, unfortunately, we lost him out. He seemed to stop. It was close at the start of the race, the restart. Rackstraw there was holding off Nati for a bit. And later, of course, they would be coming together. But yeah, Robert Volk was still very much in the hunt of things. Tata Corella going through there. He's had also up and down weekend as well. Yeah, it was Volk then and feeling a bit compromised going into the final corner. It was then at the first corner that he seemed to miss his braking point or had a failure on the car, because straight after this, he went into the pits. And so we started to see it. And that was the error. In fact, it was not Andrew. It was Saud who made the mistake. He just had a twitch back, the tyres gripped, and he knocked Andrew. I wonder if the stewards will be looking at that. But this is the man who benefits then. Josh Leroux up into second. And it's Michael van Rooyen who takes up the race victory in race 2 of Global Touring Cars. Great to be back. Great for a new season underway. So fantastic start then to the day. We've had 5 races. All our support races are done and dusted. As we now turn our attention, we've got a couple of VIPs on the track having some hot laps. We've got the historic still to come. And then the build-up for the Kyalami 9 hour is on the way. We get underway at just after 12, 1 o'clock. The race gets underway. We hope you join us then. Thank you.